Chapter 651, Rumors Arise, 6, okay. Guan Yushi described the incident in front of Luo Xian again. Now you know. Guan Yulong said sympathetically. In fact, this originally had nothing to do with Luo Xing'er, but she insisted on sticking up. Yes, what should we do now? Luo Xian was at a loss. He really didn't want to bring an undeserved calamity to the family because of his ignorant daughter. Alas. I don't know either. Guan Yulong looked at Luo Xian, who was in the same boat as him, very helpless. Patriarch Luo, why don't you go to the Alchemist Association personally and probe Miss Ling's intentions while you're at it, the first elder suggested. The time limit that girl gave them was almost up. If they couldn't give her a satisfactory answer at that time, their moon-gazing family would probably be unable to escape calamity. Alas. That's the only way. Guan Yulong sighed heavily. Then let's go now. Luo Xian said impatiently. Okay. Guan Yulong nodded. Then the two of them went straight to the Alchemist Association, but they were refused entry. At the entrance of the Alchemist Association, Guan Yulong and Luo Xian looked at each other helplessly. What should we do now? They asked in unison. I don't know, Guan Yulong said. Alas. Whether they met or not, it would be useless even if he had any ideas. This was like punching cotton, making people very depressed. Why don't we go back first and come back tomorrow? Perhaps Miss Ling's anger will subside tomorrow, Luo Xian suggested. However, wishes were good, but reality was cruel. They were given the cold shoulder for 2 days in a row. Moreover, rumors suddenly spread all over Moonview City. Some said that Leng Ruoxue injured someone, while others said that Leng Ruoxue stole someone else's fiancé. All the blame was instantly on Leng Ruoxue, who was concocting pills in the bracelet without knowing anything. In the main mansion of the Guanyu family. In the study, Guan Yulong paced around like an ant on a hot pan, his handsome face full of worry. Patriarch, stop spinning. I'm dizzy, First Elder said, unable to bear watching. First Elder, I'm anxious. Miss Leng has been unwilling to see us. I don't know what she's thinking, Guan Yulong said gloomily. He and Luo Xian had been going to the Alchemist Association for 2 days in a row, but they were both denied entrance. Today was the last day of the deadline Leng Ruoxue gave him. However, he didn't think of a good solution, so he wanted to see Miss Leng and discuss with her what she meant. Who knew that she would shut up and not see him? Patriarch, I don't want to see you. There's no point in being anxious. Moreover, isn't there still a day today? Why don't you send someone to scout first? When will I be willing to see you? You can go over. The first elder suggested. The fate of their Guanyu family was in Leng Ruoxue's hands, so they couldn't decide whether she would see them or not. That's the only way, Guan Yulong said helplessly. He called the guard over and gave instructions before sitting down weakly in the chair. Patriarch, calm down. I believe our Guanyu family can survive this crisis, the first elder said confidently. He saw that Leng Ruoxue was not an unreasonable person, so he believed that this matter would definitely be resolved perfectly as long as their Guanyu family was sincere enough. Hopefully so. Guan Yulong sighed softly. Xier has been out for so long. Why isn't he back yet? Guan Yulong asked. Rumors had been flying around the city for the past 2 days. Moreover, they were targeting Leng Ruoxue and the others. Therefore, he sent his son to investigate this matter early in the morning, hoping to use this matter to give Leng Ruoxue a favor. However, it was almost noon, and Xier was still not back. This couldn't help making him a little anxious. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Patriarch, calm down. It's useless even if you're anxious. First Elder advised. Alas. The Patriarch's temper had been getting more and more anxious these few days. I know. Guan Yulong smiled bitterly. Compared to Guan Yulong's distress, Leng Ruoxue and the others knew nothing because they had been staying in the bracelet for the past 2 days. In the Heaven and Earth bracelet, the freak and Empty were still sitting on the stone chair in front of the purple bamboo hut, chatting randomly. However, his eyes were fixed on the activity in the purple bamboo hut. Boo-hoo. Shuer had already been in for 2 days, and he didn't know what she was busy with. However, he didn't dare to enter and disturb her, so he could only wait outside anxiously. Freak, don't look anymore. Shuer will come out, Empty said helplessly. This fellow was about to become a wife-seeking rock. He didn't even focus on chatting with him. It's been 2 days. I wonder what Shuer is doing inside, the freak said with some dissatisfaction. He originally thought that Shuer would come out soon, but he didn't expect there to be no movement after so long. It's only been 2 days. What's the rush? Empty rolled his eyes and said speechlessly. Fortunately, Shuer didn't go into seclusion. Otherwise, this fellow would definitely become a real rock when Shuer emerged. The door of the purple bamboo hut suddenly opened and Leng Ruoxue walked out while the two of them were chatting. Shuer, I missed you so much. The freak hurriedly rushed forward and hugged Shuer tightly. Freak, I'm sorry. It took too long to concoct pills, Leng Ruoxue said guiltily. She originally thought it would come out soon, but it actually took 2 days. Shuer, what pill did you concoct? It actually took so long, the freak complained with some dissatisfaction. Ah. Many types. I haven't refined pills for a long time, so I accidentally lost track of time, Leng Ruoxue said shyly. Hee, Shuer, if you don't come out, this fellow will become a wife-seeking stone, Empty said with a light smile. I'm sorry, freak. By the way, is there anything important these 2 days? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. Probably not. However, I heard from Qing Ju that Guan Yulong and the patriarch of the Luo family came twice, but they were rejected by the Alchemist Association, the freak said after some thought. Chapter 652, I belong only to Shuer, 1, oh, looks like Ningde wants to take them down a notch. Has Ningde not been looking for us for the past 2 days? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. That shouldn't be the case. That Ningde fellow reported almost every day. He came once. However, Ling told him that you were refining pills and that Feng De and the others were cultivating, so he didn't come again, the freak explained. Big sister, Ningde also went back to concoct pills, Qing Ju added in front of Leng Ruoxue and the others. Oh, freak, let's go out, Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. If she remembered correctly, today should be the last day of the deadline she gave Guan Yulong, yes. The freak and Empty nodded. Mommy, take me out to play. At this moment, Little Fire emerged from nowhere and jumped into Leng Ruoxue's arms coquettishly. Alas. All right then. Leng Ruoxue looked at Little Fire's cute appearance and couldn't bear to refuse. Hee, Little Fire loves mommy the most, Huer said happily. Leng Ruoxue gently caressed the soft fur on Little Fire's body and brought the two of them and the beast out of the bracelet with a thought. In the yard, Rise, which was basking in the sun, immediately crawled over and coiled around Leng Ruoxue's wrist after sensing her master's aura. Rise, you've worked hard. Leng Ruoxue caressed Rise's golden scales. Hee, not at all, Rise said shyly. Shuer, where are we going? The freak asked curiously. Let's go out for a walk. Well, visit the Guan Yu family on the way, Leng Ruoxue said. Guan Yulong had come twice but hadn't seen her. However, she didn't think Guan Yulong had thought of a good way. Okay. The freak and Empty nodded. The 3 of them and 2 beasts left the Alchemist Association. However, they were stopped by a person who looked like a guard just as they walked out of the Alchemist Association. Leng Ruoxue raised her eyebrows slightly and looked at the person blocking their way. She said lightly, what do you mean? Judging from the clothes on this person, it was undoubtedly the Guan Yu family. Miss Leng, our patriarch requests an audience, the guard said very respectfully. He was the patriarch's attendant, so he knew a little about Len Ruoxia's identity, so his attitude was very respectful. Oh, Len Ruoxia answered softly and stopped talking. It seemed that old fellow Guan Yulong had learned to wait for the rabbit. The guard was stunned after hearing what Len Ruoxia said. What did this mean? Was Miss Len going to see him or not? Lead the way. Len Ruoxia said with some amusement, seeing the cautious appearance of the guard in front of her. In fact, she was going to the Guan Yu family anyway, so she could take advantage of the situation. Yes, the guard said happily. Boo-hoo. He finally didn't disappoint the patriarch. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. Miss Leng, please, the guard said respectfully. Then he led the way while Len Ruoxia and the others walked slowly behind, watching the commotion as they walked. However, she found that people on the streets were pointing at her and whispering not far away. Empty, can you hear what they are saying? Len Ruoxia asked in puzzlement. Those people's voices were too soft. It would be a little difficult for her to hear them with her strength. However, looking at their mouths, it seemed to be related to her. Moreover, it was definitely not something good. Ah. Swear, they said that you snatched someone else's fiancé, Empty said with a black face. With his strength, the whispered discussions of those people could not be hidden from him. He did not really want to tell Swear, but since she asked, he had to tell the truth. What? Len Ruoxia was stunned. Rob someone else's fiancé? Who did she rob? Why didn't she know? Nonsense. Enough for Swear. There's no need to snatch others. The freak was furious when he heard that. This person was really too wicked. How dare he frame Swear like this? This person better not be caught by him. Otherwise, he would definitely suffer a fate worse than death. Miss Leng, there have been rumors in the city recently that you stole someone else's fiancé and even got someone to injure your love rival, the guard said carefully. He didn't think it was true, but rumors were terrifying. If there were too many rumors, even if it was fake, it would become true. Whose fiancé did I snatch? Len Ruoxia asked curiously. There were no other men beside her except for the freak. Could it be Empty? Swear, don't look at me like that. I don't have a fiancé. Empty knew what was on Swear's mind when he saw her suspicious gaze, so he quickly clarified. Could it be Zhang En if it's not you? Len Ruoxia guessed. She hadn't been in the boundless heaven continent for long and didn't know many men. The one who interacted the longest was Empty and Zhang En. Apart from this, she really couldn't think of anyone else. It definitely won't be Zhang En, Empty said with certainty. Could it be Grandpa Du? Len Ruoxia said in surprise. Swear, your imagination is a little too rich. How can it be that old man? Don't forget, the rumors say that you stole someone else's fiancé, Empty said speechlessly. Alas. Even if you wanted to snatch a man, you had to snatch a young and beautiful one. Who would snatch an old man Zao? But I didn't snatch it. Ah. Could it be Lan Ming? Len Ruoxia continued guessing. Miss Leng, you don't have to guess anymore. Our young master has already gone to investigate this matter, the guard said helplessly. Oh, then thank the young master on my behalf, Len Ruoxia said politely and then quietly contacted Qing Ju in her heart. Big sister, what's the matter? Qing Ju asked in puzzlement. As his big sister's artifact spirit, he could feel that his big sister was very angry now. Which idiot provoked his big sister? Qing Ju, there have been rumors in Guanyu City recently that I stole someone else's fiancé. Len Ruoxia said aggrievedly. Boo-hoo. It was enough that she had a freak. Why did she have to snatch another man? This was Hongguo's slander. She would definitely not let that person go if she knew who deliberately spread this news. Ah, there's actually such a thing. It's really too despicable. Qing-ju was angry when he heard this. He hurriedly enveloped the entire moon-gazing city with his spiritual sense. This way, the people who spread the rumors would have nowhere to hide. Humph. Anyone who dared to bully his sister would die. Chapter 653, I belong only to Schwer, too, big sister, don't worry. I'll find out who that person is. Qing-ju hurriedly comforted her after doing all this. Humph. Don't even think about running away as long as that person was still in the city. Qing-ju, you've worked hard. Leng Ruoxua nodded and cut off her connection with Qing-ju. The few of them continued walking. However, Leng Ruoxua and the others didn't say anything along the way after knowing the rumors. Instead, they pondered. Miss Leng, please wait for a moment. I'll go and report, the guard said respectfully. Before they knew it, they had arrived outside Guan Yulong's study. Okay. Leng Ruoxua nodded and continued thinking. The study door was opened in a moment. Guan Yulong and the first elder hurriedly welcomed them with smiles on their faces. Miss Leng, welcome, hee. Guan Yulong was so happy. He was just worried that she wouldn't want to see him. He didn't expect Leng Ruoxua to take the initiative to come. This was great. I heard that the Guan Yu family's patriarch wants to see me. Unfortunately, I'm refining pills and can't be disturbed, Leng Ruoxua explained simply. Oh, I see. Guan Yulong was relieved. He felt much more relaxed knowing that Leng Ruoxua didn't deliberately disappear. May I know why the Yu family's patriarch is looking for me? Leng Ruoxua asked the advisor. Hee, Miss Leng, let's sit inside and talk. Guan Yulong said with a smile. All right then. Leng Ruoxua didn't stand on ceremony and pulled the freak and empty straight in. Then she found a random seat and sat down. Guan Yulong and the first elder also sat down, but neither of them spoke first. Patriarch Guan Yu, speak frankly. Today is the last day of the deadline. You have to give me a satisfactory answer, Leng Ruoxua said with a light smile. Miss Leng, to be honest, we've racked our brains for several days but still haven't thought of any good ideas. Therefore, we've decided to listen to you for everything. No matter what conditions Miss Leng propose, as long as my Guan Yu family can do it, we will definitely be satisfied. Guan Yulong said with a smile, his expression looking very sincere. Really? Leng Ruoxua asked casually. Of course, Guan Yulong said with certainty. What if I want the entire Guan Yu family? Leng Ruoxua smiled lightly. This has to be discussed with the elders, Guan Yulong said with a slight headache. Boo-hoo. In fact, he was mentally prepared. After all, her food would take away 1/3 of the assets of the Guan Yu family, so it was not strange that Leng Ruoxua would make such a request. There's no need to discuss. I'm just joking with you. I don't care for such a big burden from the Guan Yu family. Leng Ruoxua said honestly. She was not in need of money now, so the Guan Yu family was not very useful in her eyes. Ah. Guan Yulong was depressed. He didn't expect his family to be treated as a burden and despised. However, thinking about his family, he felt that Leng Ruoxua was right. It was indeed a burden. However, you have to do something for me, Leng Ruoxua said with a smile. What is it? Guan Yulong asked anxiously. Boo-hoo. This little fox must have asked him to do something bad. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBoxNovel. Thanks. I heard there are a lot of rumors about me in Moon Gazing City recently, right? Leng Ruoxua asked calmly. Ah. Yes, I've already asked Xier to bring people to investigate, Guan Yulong said hurriedly. Did Leng Ruoxua ask him to do this? That would be too easy. Oh, Patriarch Guan Yu, you chased us out of the Moon Gazing restaurant because of the Wu family, right? Leng Ruoshu asked again. Probably. Guan Yulong braced himself and replied. He didn't order the matter, but it was indeed because of the Wu family. Then chase the Wu family out of Moon-Gazing City. As long as you chase the Wu family out of Moon-Gazing City and order that no one from the Wu family is allowed to enter from now on, well, forget about what happened between us, Leng Ruoshue said softly. All right. Guan Yulong and the first elder's gazes collided, communicated silently, and then answered. Boo-hoo. He knew that what this little fox wanted him to do wouldn't be so simple. He didn't like the Wu family, but he really didn't want to completely fall out with the Wu family now. However, if he really ordered to prohibit the Wu family from entering the city and chase them out, then the Guanyu family and the Wu family would really fall out. However, the Guanyu family would be the unlucky ones if he didn't do this, so the Wu family had to be sacrificed for the Guanyu family. Then he'll wait for the good news from Patriarch Guanyu in the Alchemist Association. Leng Ruoshue said with a smile. Hee, Guan Yulong must have thought at first that she wanted him to help find the person who spread the rumors. How could it be so easy? That was just a smokescreen. Otherwise, why would Guan Yulong agree so readily? Okay. Guan Yulong nodded. Patriarch Guan Yu, well, take our leave first. Come to the Alchemist Association if you need alchemy in the future. I'll get them to give you a 50% discount, Leng Ruoshue said very generously. Thank you, Miss Leng, Guan Yulong said with a smile, thinking, fortunately, luckily, not only did he not fall out with the Alchemist Association, but he also gave his family a discount. Even though it was only a 95% discount, it would save a lot of money. However, he didn't expect that the price of the pills in the Alchemist Association would increase before long. Therefore, not only did he not take advantage of it at all, he even spent more money. You're welcome. In fact, apart from you chasing me out of the moon-gazing restaurant and your son snatching me away, there's no deep enmity between us, right? Therefore, let people go wherever they can. Why make it so irreconcilable? Leng Ruoshue said with a light smile as if she didn't care about these things at all. Yes. Guan Yulong forced a smile. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down his forehead, and he wanted to cry but had no tears. We've already paid 1/3 of our assets just because we chased you away and robbed you. Moreover, we're going to completely fall out with the Wu family. What else do you want? Boo-hoo. No matter who we provoke in the future, we can't provoke this little demon. She's really too terrifying. Patriarch Guan Yu, we're leaving. You don't have to see us out. Leng Ruoshue gave the freak an empty look after speaking, and the 3 of them left Guan Yulong's study. However, they were stopped again just as they exited the study. Chapter 654, I belong only to Shuer. 3. Leng Ruoshue looked at the middle-aged man blocking them speechlessly and said with some displeasure, You're blocking my way. Miss Leng, I am the patriarch of the Luo family, Luo Xian. I have something to discuss with you, Luo Xian hurriedly said. Of course, he could see that Leng Ruoshue was a little unhappy. However, he was not confident if he did not make things clear with her. What do you want to talk about? Leng Ruoshue was helpless. She had been a rabbit twice today. Alas. These people were really. Miss Leng, I mainly want to apologize to you on behalf of my daughter. She's young and insensible. Don't take it to heart with her. Luo Xian said very friendly. Won't she come if she wants to apologize? Moreover, she doesn't have anything to apologize to me. It's only right and proper for her to help her brother and friends. We just have different sides, Leng Ruoshue said nonchalantly. There were really too many spoiled young ladies. Wouldn't she be dead tired if she fussed over every one of them? Luo Xian was depressed. He had been worried for 2 days, afraid that Leng Ruoshue would bear a grudge against his daughter. However, she didn't take it seriously at all. Wouldn't he have been worried for nothing? Boo-hoo. Patriarch Luo, I can let your daughter go this time. However, I can't guarantee that I will be so magnanimous if there's a next time, Leng Ruoxue warned. Humph. As the saying went, she could ignore the repeated provocations, but don't blame her for being heartless if she provoked her again and again. I know. I'll send someone to watch her. Thank you, Miss Leng. Luo Xian was finally at ease. Boo-hoo. Fortunately, Leng Ruoxue was not unreasonable. Otherwise, he would really have a headache. You're not looking at her, but by Fong, Leng Ruoxue reminded. With that, the three of them and the two beasts left the main mansion of the Guanyu family. Ningde immediately reported to them as soon as Leng Ruoxue and the others returned to their residence. Old Ning, you're really fast. Miss just returned and you're already here, Fengde, who had just emerged from the bracelet, couldn't help teasing. Hee, what have you been doing for the past 2 days? Ningde asked curiously. Miss was concocting pills, but he didn't see Fengde and the others. Only Miss Beasts were guarding the yard, not allowing anyone to disturb them. We're cultivating advanced mystic techniques. Fengde said proudly. Hee, they had already learned advanced mystic techniques of the same attribute. Oh, miss, did you go to the Guanyu family? Ningde guessed. He knew that Guanyu Long had been coming for the past 2 days, but he had already gotten someone to send him away. However, he also heard that the guards of the Guanyu family had been guarding the door. Yes, Guanyu Long still owes me an explanation. I happened to be free, so I went to ask for it myself, Leng Ruoxue explained indifferently. Miss, the Guanyu family is very rich. Don't be soft-hearted. Ningde reminded with a naughty smile. I didn't ask for money, Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. She didn't lack money now, so she didn't care so much. Ah. Then what do you want? Ningde was puzzled. He really couldn't think of any better solution other than putting all the Guanyu family's money in his pocket. Could it be that Miss wanted the Guanyu family to deal with the Wu family? I want him to chase the Wu family out of Moon-Gazing City. Leng Ruoxue said simply. Miss, the Wu family will definitely not let you go. Why don't you just let the Guanyu family destroy the Wu family? As long as you mention it, Guanyu Long will definitely agree for the family. Ningde couldn't help asking. Ah. When did Miss become so kind? It shouldn't be like this with his understanding. There's no need. They will chase the Wu family out of the city and the two families will fall out. Moreover, I want to keep the Wu family for Fengde and the others to practice, so they don't have to do anything. Leng Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Oh. Ningde understood. He knew it. Miss shouldn't be so kind, hee. Miss, when are we going to attack the Wu family? Fengde couldn't help asking eagerly when he heard that there were unlucky people training. What's the rush? There will be times when you perform. Oh right, Ningde, from today onwards, the price of all the pills in the Alchemist Association will increase by 10%, Leng Ruoxue said to Ningde. Why? Ningde said in puzzlement. The pills on the market now were not cheap. Why did Miss still want to increase the price? Because I promised Guanyu Long to give them a 50% discount if they came to buy pills, Leng Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. Ah. Okay, I'll inform them later, Ningde said hurriedly, feeling pity for Guanyu Long in his heart. Alas. Poor guy, he was fooled by Miss again. Ningde, do you know the rumors in the city these few days? Leng Ruoxue raised her eyebrows slightly and asked indifferently. She guessed that Ningde didn't know. Otherwise, he would never have hidden it from her. What rumor? I'll get someone to investigate later, Ningde asked with a puzzled expression. He had also been concocting pills these 2 days, so he really didn't know what the news outside was. There's no need. Rumor has it that I stole a certain woman's fiancé and beat her up, Leng Ruoxue said with a slight headache. Ah. She thought for a while but couldn't think of which woman she beat up. Ah. There's such a thing. Miss, who have you beaten up? Ningde suppressed his smile and asked. How could there be such a rumor? It was too ridiculous. Lan Ninger, Sun Meilin. But I've never fought these people myself. They were all beaten by my beasts. Leng Ruoxue counted with her fingers. Ah. Miss, you're just short of the Leng family not provoking the three great families. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Ningde's forehead as he said speechlessly. Alas. Miss really didn't have affinity with the opposite sex. The ones who found trouble with her were actually women. I never provoke others on my own accord. It's others who provoke me. I'm very innocent, Leng Ruoxue said aggrievedly. Boo-hoo. Miss, whose man did you snatch from? Ningde asked carefully, afraid that he would anger Mississippi. I already have a freak. Why should I snatch other people's men? Moreover, how can there be anyone beside them who can compare to a freak? Leng Ruoxue said honestly. It was troublesome to have more men, so one was enough for her. Chapter 655, I belong only to Schwer, 4, that's right, the freak agreed. Schwer's words couldn't help making him a little smug. Then has he been someone else's fiancé? Ningde probed. Boo-hoo. Heaven took pity on him. He only wanted to help Miss analyze who was the most likely. Really? Of course not. I'm Schwer alone. The freak patted Ningde's head furiously and said with a displeased face. Oh. Ningde covered his head and looked at the freak aggrievedly. At this moment, there was a knock on the door outside the yard. Young Master Guanyu, why are you here? Fengde, who went to open the door, couldn't help being a little surprised to see the people outside. I have something to tell your young miss, Guanyu, she said anxiously. Oh, please come in. Fengde said hurriedly. Guanyu she came directly to Leng Ruoxue after entering the yard and said, Miss Leng, I found the person who spread the rumors. Who is it? Leng Ruoxue and the others asked in unison. They were more curious about this person. The rumors came from the mouth of a gangster. According to the gangster, someone gave him a large sum of money to spread it. Unfortunately, he didn't recognize that person, Guanyu she explained. The gangster was playing in the casino when he brought people to capture the gangster. Moreover, it was said that he was generous and lost a lot. Oh, where is that hooligan? Leng Ruoxue asked. Outside. I'll get someone to watch him. Does Miss Leng want to see him? Guanyu she said very understandingly. Yes. Leng Ruoxue nodded. Please wait a moment. Guanyu she walked a few steps out of the yard and ordered the guards guarding outside. Soon, the hooligan who spread the rumors was brought over. Did you say that I stole someone else's man and injured that woman? Leng Ruoxue asked coldly as she looked at the trembling hooligan. Yes. Yes, miss, please spare me. Boo-hoo. I was just blinded by money. Boo-hoo. Let me go. I have an old man and a young one, the timid little gangster wailed, trying to attract the sympathy of everyone present. Unfortunately, he found the wrong person. Moreover, he was interrupted by the freak before he could say anything. Shut up. I'll kill you right now if you continue crying, the freak threatened impatiently. Humph. How dare he make a man for Schwer? He would definitely make this person suffer a fate worse than death if he knew who this person was. Ah. The hooligan immediately stopped crying when he heard that. He didn't want to die. Let me ask you, how much did that person give you? The freak kicked the hooligan fiercely and questioned. 10,000 purple coins, the hooligan answered honestly with tears in his eyes. Damn it, how dare you wrong my young miss for 10,000 purple coins? I think you're tired of living. Fengde was furious when he heard this and kicked the hooligan again. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Boo-hoo, the hooligan choked, and blood flowed down the corner of his mouth. Boo-hoo. If he knew that these people were not to be trifled with, he shouldn't have been so greedy back then. You still have the cheek to cry. Damn it. Fengde couldn't help kicking the little hooligan a few more times seeing his cowardly appearance. Fengde, stop kicking. He will die if you continue kicking him, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. This hooligan was only a spiritualist with a low status and strength. He could not withstand the few kicks from the freak in Fengde. Boo-hoo, the hooligans cried even louder in pain. These people were really too barbaric. Let me ask you, what did the person who asked you to spread the news look like? Leng Ruoxue questioned. I don't remember. I knew she was a woman, the hooligan answered cautiously. Damn it, why did we keep you if you don't remember? Fengde came up again and said fiercely. Fengde, I'll leave this hooligan to you, Leng Ruoxue ordered. Okay. Miss, don't worry. We will definitely be responsible for making this guy suffer a fate worse than death. Fengde grabbed the hooligan by the collar and locked him up in the woodshed, ready to serve the hooligan after outsiders left. Young Master Guanyu, thank you for catching this hooligan for me. Leng Ruoxue turned her head and said to Guanyu Shi. You're welcome. In fact, I couldn't help much either, Guanyu Shi said guiltily. He had only caught the person who spread the rumors. Unfortunately, the mastermind was not found, and the hooligan was clueless. This is already very good, Leng Ruoxue comforted politely. Miss Leng, I'll continue investigating this matter, Guanyu Shi said very seriously. There's no need to trouble young Master Guanyu. My people will investigate this matter. Leng Ruoxue refused because she knew that Guanyu Shi probably wouldn't be able to find anything even if she investigated. After all, he didn't have Qing Ju's ability. Moreover, she felt that there was no need to owe Guanyu Shi a favor. Miss Leng suffered such injustice in moon-gazing city. As the young master of the moon-gazing family, I should seek justice for you. This is my responsibility, Guanyu Shi said very stubbornly. Up to you then. Leng Ruoxue was helpless. Goodbye. Guanyu Shi bowed slightly and then turned to leave. Miss, could this be caused by the Wu family? Fengde asked curiously. No, Wu Qian'er has been injured for a while. If we wanted to spread such rumors, we wouldn't have waited until now. Moreover, Wu Qian'er is the legitimate daughter of the Wu family. She can't hide her fiancé from others. I think the other person is the most suspicious. Leng Ruoxue analyzed. Are you talking about Baifeng? Empty said understandingly. The rumors spread after Baifeng was injured, so she was indeed the most suspicious. Moreover, Baifeng coveted her man. However, this Baifeng was a little too brainless. As a member of an aristocratic family, it was very easy for others to find out if she had a fiancé or not. What benefits did she have to spread such a rumor? Did she think that she could break her up with just a few rumors? What a fantasy. Okay. Leng Ruoxue nodded. She really couldn't think of anyone other than that woman who would do such boring things. Chapter 656, The Toilet Recommending Itself, 1. For a moment, everyone's eyes focused on the freak. Why are you looking at me? I don't know that woman, the freak roared furiously. Boo-hoo. What were their gazes like? Commander Yi, Baifeng is interested in you. Fengde said bluntly. Alas. Even a fool could see the redness in Baifeng's eyes. What does that have to do with me? The freak said angrily. Damn, that woman was crazy. Why were they booing along? You are a source of trouble, Leng Ruoxue said calmly. Boo-hoo. Swear, why are you saying this about me? It's not my fault that I'm good-looking. The freak was aggrieved, very aggrieved. Hee hee, whose fault is that? Empty said with a light smile. Fortunately, the person Bai Fong liked was not him. Otherwise, he would be the one worrying now. You, the freak roared in anger. Hee hee, it's not my fault. You're not my child, don't blame me. Empty teased fearlessly. Alright, stop arguing. We're only guessing if it's Bai Fong. Let's wait for Qing Ju's result. Leng Ruoxua didn't want to wrong others, but she wouldn't let anyone who wronged her go, be it the mastermind or the accomplice. Hee hee, Schwer, I have a good idea. We can immediately know if it's that woman, Empty said with a smile. Qing Ju might have been watching the entire moon-gazing city, but it would be useless if that woman didn't do anything. The best way was to let that woman take action. What idea? Leng Ruoxua was curious. Come closer. Empty looked at Leng Ruoxua and the freak mysteriously. Oh. Leng Ruoxua and the freak's eyes met. They looked at each other and then cooperatively moved their ears closer. No, I won't do it. The freak objected loudly after hearing it. Boo-hoo. He didn't want to leave Schwer. I think this idea is good. Be good, freak. Cooperate. Leng Ruoxua caressed the freak's head and coaxed. Schwer, can you really bear to do it? The freak's bright starry eyes held tears as he asked sadly. Freak, be good. Leng Ruoxua comforted him. Boo-hoo. All right then, the freak said reluctantly. His starry eyes glared fiercely at Empty. Boo-hoo. It was all his rotten idea. Outside the Alchemist Association. A handsome and invincible man was chased out of the Alchemist Association. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Schwer, don't chase me away. It's really not my fault. Boo-hoo. I don't know any Miss Bai at all. The freak knocked on the closed door of the Alchemist Association and roared loudly. The abnormality in front of the Alchemist Association quickly attracted a large number of passers-by to watch. Everyone pointed at the freak. Could this person be the rumored male lead? He's indeed a drop-dead gorgeous disaster. Someone who had never seen a freak whispered. Yes. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been snatched away by others. Alas. How pitiful. They're actually being chased out now, someone said with great pity. Which Miss Bai is he talking about? Someone who didn't know the truth asked curiously. Who else could it be? It must be Miss Bai Fong. However, if I were to choose, I would choose Leng Ruoxua too. Then Miss Bai can't even compare to a strand of Miss Leng's hair, someone said, and this person obviously knew some inside information. Oh. The pedestrians on the street were discussing spiritedly, but the freak was abnormally angry in his heart. Damn it, these people were really not ordinary gossip. He had already become the male lead of the rumors, but even though he was angry, he had to pretend to be sad and depressed as he walked on the streets in a daze. As he walked, the sad freak actually came to the outskirts. He casually found a clean big green rock to sit down and then fell into a daze. Young Master Yi, why are you here? A gentle female voice sounded in the freak's ear after some time. Who are you? Do you know me? The freak raised his head, pretending to be depressed, and said in surprise. Damn, why did this damn woman only come now? He waited until he was about to fall asleep, cursing in his heart with great dissatisfaction. Bai Fong. Why don't you recognize me anymore? Bai Fong said sadly. Should I know you? The freak's face was full of question marks, thinking, this woman is really shameless. She actually acted so familiar. Young Master Yi, I will be sad if you say that, Bai Fong said pitifully with tears in her eyes. Oh, but I really can't remember. I've seen you before. The freak sighed softly and said helplessly. However, he couldn't help cursing in his heart. Damn it, whether you're sad or not has nothing to do with me. He was already very angry that he was arranged to perform, but he couldn't show it, which showed how depressed he was. Young Master Guan Yu and the others went to your residence that day. Did you forget? Bai Fong reminded. She was also scratched by that damn cat. She would probably be disfigured if it weren't for the 100-flower pill in her hand. However, what made her even angrier was that her uncle was actually unwilling to stand up for her to settle the score with Leng. Even though her uncle refused to help her, someone would help her. Oh, I remember now. There's also Miss Luo, right? The freak said in realization. Yes. Bai Fong gritted her teeth and said with raging jealousy. He didn't even remember her, but he still remembered Miss Luo. She was really angry. However, she still had a perfect smile on her face no matter how angry she was. Ah. If I remember correctly, you seem to have been scratched by Shuer's cat. How did you recover so quickly? The freak said with seeming surprise. I took the 100-flower pill, Bai Fong explained. Fortunately, she didn't give the pill to her uncle. Otherwise, her uncle would definitely not care about her. Oh, I see. The freak nodded. Young Master Yi, what are you doing here? Bai Fong asked again, unwilling to give up because she was a little uncertain. Was this man really chased out by Leng Ruoxue? Chapter 657, The Toilet Recommending Itself, 2, Don't Mention It. It's a long story. The freak sighed softly, as if there was something difficult to say. Did you quarrel with Miss Leng? Bai Fong probed, her beautiful face full of concern. Yes, Shuer actually accused me of having another woman. Boo-hoo. I'm so sad. I've always been devoted to her. I don't even have a Sao by my side, but she actually suspects me, the freak complained, his beautiful face full of grievance. Young Master Yi, don't be sad. Miss Leng doesn't know what's good for her. Stop thinking about her. There will be a woman who loves you more than her, Bai Fong comforted, but she was secretly smug. It seemed like the news she received was true. They really fell out. Ha! This was great. This was a rare opportunity for her. In fact, you can't blame her. There have been some rumors in the city recently that she stole someone else's fiancé and injured someone, so she suspected me. The freak couldn't help defending Shuer. Young Master Yi, you're a good man. Miss Leng treats you so well, but you're still so considerate of her, Bai Fong said with envy all over her face. However, she was so jealous that she was about to go crazy. She really didn't know what was so good about Leng Ruoxue other than being prettier. Why was this man so loyal? Because I love her. No woman can compare to her in my heart, but I didn't expect her to suspect me because of a few rumors. Boo-hoo, the freak said sadly. Young Master Yi, why are you so loyal to her since she doesn't trust you? There are many good women in the world. You will find a woman who loves you more, Bai Fong couldn't help persuading. Really? Is there a woman who loves me more than Shuer? The freak said with a face full of disbelief. Of course, Bai Fong said resolutely and confidently. Where is it? Why don't I see it? The freak looked around and said with some disappointment. Young Master Yi, what if I say? I've admired you for a long time. Bai Fong himself with red cheeks and a shy face. Her little heart was thumping crazily, and she was extremely nervous. She didn't know if the man in front of her would accept her initiative to confess her love. He wouldn't think she was too frivolous, right? She thought uneasily. Miss Bai, thank you for your comfort. Don't joke around. We only met once, the freak said gratefully. We didn't just meet once. I saw you at the Flower Appreciation Festival, Bai Fong said shyly with her head lowered. So what? Don't tell me you fell in love with me just like that, the freak said with a look of disbelief. Young Master Yi, I really like you. In fact, I fell in love with you at first sight, Bai Fong whispered with a red face. Miss Bai, I already have a fiancé, the freak reminded. I know, I don't mind being small. Bai Fang touched on the sore spot. No, the freak refused, his handsome face full of difficulties. Why not? Don't you like me? I'm not inferior to Len Ruoxue, Bai Fang said indignantly. She had finally found a chance to get close to her beloved, so of course she wouldn't give up easily. I promised Shuer that I wouldn't marry a concubine, the freak said honestly. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. It's okay. I can beg her. I believe she will definitely fulfill our wish. Moreover, didn't she chase you out already? Then what right does she have to request you? Bai Fang said confidently, as if she and the freak were already in love. Miss Bai, what exactly do you like about me? The freak couldn't help asking. Boo-hoo. Couldn't he change it? I like your gentleness and thoughtfulness. When I first saw you, I saw that you were very good to Miss Leng, so I liked you at that time because I also wanted to obtain that gentleness and consideration, wanted you to treat me like that, Bai Fang said with yearning and daydreaming, her limpid eyes lighting up at the freak from time to time. Miss Bai, to tell you the truth, I'm actually not a gentle and considerate man. I'm hitting women. The freak rolled his eyes and couldn't help but say. Alas. He really didn't know what this woman was thinking. Did she want to snatch that man away just because other men were good to her? Didn't she think that that man would treat her the same? I believe in my taste. If I become your woman, you will definitely treat me the way you treat Len Ruoxue, Bai Fang said very confidently. No, I won't treat any woman like that except for Shuer, the freak said uncontrollably. He really didn't know where this woman's confidence came from. But didn't she chase you out already? Will you still love her as much as before? Bai Fang reminded rudely. So what? Even if she chased me out, I won't accept other women casually. I only love her, the freak said with a faint smile. I've never thought of replacing her place in your heart. I just want to stay by your side and I'm satisfied, Bai Fang said aggrievedly. She didn't believe that this man would refuse such a small request of hers. Stay by my side. I'm sorry, I don't need a maidservant. The freak pretended to be stupid. I don't want to be your maidservant, Bai Fang said angrily. Damn it, this man actually pretended to be stupid. She just said that she was willing to be a little girl, but this man actually pretended to be stupid. Then what can you be? The freak continued to pretend to be stupid. I said I'm willing to be your little one, Bai Fang said. I told you, that's impossible, the freak refused resolutely. Are you afraid that Len Ruoxue will disagree? It's okay. I'll beg her, Bai Fang said very seriously. Ah. How do you want to beg her? The freak was a little speechless. Wasn't this woman a little too thick-skinned? I will beg her to fulfill our wish, Bai Fang said with great determination. She had done so many things in hopes of achieving her wish. Chapter 658, The Toilet Recommending Itself, 3, What do you want from me? A slightly displeased female voice suddenly interrupted their conversation. At this moment, Len Ruoxue walked out from behind a huge tree. She couldn't help but burn with anger as she looked at the man and woman in front of her. Shuer, don't misunderstand. There's nothing between me and her, the freak hurriedly explained after seeing Len Ruoxue. However, this became guilt in Bai Fang's eyes. Who said we're nothing? We were once engaged. How can you abandon us? Bai Fang steeled her heart and said with certainty. At this point, she could only try her best. Anyway, she would not stop until she achieved her goal. So you are the other main character in the rumors? Len Ruoxue said with a light smile. That's right. Now the entire moon-gazing city knows that not only did you snatch my fiancé away, you even injured me, so I'm a victim, Bai Fang boasted shamelessly without knowing where her confidence came from. So you were the one who spread those rumors. Len Ruoxue's words were not a question but a statement. So what if I am? Bai Fang said nonchalantly. She didn't think Leng Ruoxue would do anything to her. After all, the Bai family had a certain status in the boundless heaven continent. Moreover, there was the Sun family backing their Bai family. Do you think you can obtain this man with just a few rumors? Leng Ruoxue looked at the freak and asked curiously. Didn't I successfully break you up? Bai Fang said with a face full of pride. At this moment, she was too busy being smug, so she didn't realize that Leng Ruoxue was trying to worm information out of her. Therefore, she was extremely honest. Who said you've already broken us up? It's too early for you to be smug. Let me tell you, this man is mine in life and my ghost in death. If he wants to have a change of heart, I would rather kill him than let another woman have it easy, so give up. Leng Ruoxue said without any emotion. Alas! This self-righteous woman was really not ordinary stupidity. No, that's impossible. Young Master Yi, tell her that you're willing to marry me. Bai Fang couldn't believe it. Had her plan failed prematurely? I won't want anyone but Shuer, the freak said coldly. He couldn't be bothered to continue acting. This woman's self-righteousness was disgusting. No. It shouldn't be like this. You should be willing to marry me. I just want to be a concubine, not snatch you from her. Can't this do? Bai Fang's watery eyes welled up with tears as she said pitifully. No, I only want Shuer, the freak said emotionlessly, hating this woman to death in his heart. Miss Leng, I really like young Master Yi. Please agree to let me be his concubine. I'll serve you well and respect you. I promise I won't compete for favor. I'll be satisfied as long as I stay by his side and see him every day. Bai Fang suddenly knelt in front of Leng Ruoxue and pleaded. 2 streams of clear tears flowed down her cheeks. She looked really pitiful now. Leng Ruoxue looked at the woman in front of her speechlessly. To be honest, she had never seen such a thick-skinned woman in her life. The matter was exposed, but this woman could still plead with her bitterly. What did she think she was? She would not be protective of the fairer sex. I say, are you shameless? Who is rushing to be my concubine? I've already refused, but you still won't give up. Lu Tao, who couldn't take it anymore, jumped out from behind the tree and scolded angrily. That's right. There are all sorts of birds in the big forest. How can there be such a shameless woman like you in the world? Can you be any more shameless? Feng De and the others also walked out from behind the tree and said with disdain. Bai Fang looked at the people who suddenly appeared in front of her and was stunned, but she quickly calmed down because she believed that these people would not make things difficult for a weak woman. Miss, what should we do with this woman? Zhengyan asked Bai Fang disdainfully. Kill him. Leng Ruoxue said very coldly. She hated being schemed against the most, especially when this woman actually dared to have designs on the freak. It was even more unforgivable. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBoxNovel. Thanks. Miss, leave this woman to me. I've just concocted a new poison that hasn't been tested yet. Zhengyan said with a naughty smile. He had also concocted many strange things under the influence of Leng Ruoxue, so today was a good time to test the effects. Yes. Leng Ruoxue nodded. Zhengyan took out a black pill from his storage ring and grabbed Bai Fang like he was picking up a chicken. He was about to send the pill into her mouth when he was suddenly interrupted. Stop. How can you bully a weak woman with so many people? Luo Xing'e ran to Leng Ruoxue and the others and accused. Xing'e, save me. Bai Fang seemed to have seen her savior. Big sister Fang, Luo Xing'e was in a dilemma. Her father had told her to mind her own business when he brought her here, so. Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes gently swept over the people who came with Luo Xing'e. Then she turned her gaze to Luo Xing'e and said with a faint smile, Miss Luo, didn't your father tell you to mind other people's business less? Xing'e. Luo Xian called out with great displeasure. Alas! This daughter was really too worrisome. Father! Luo Xing'er answered softly. Then she glared at Leng Ruoxue and returned to her father's side reluctantly. Miss Leng, I'm sorry to have embarrassed you. Luo Xian said apologetically. Miss Leng, I know that big sister Fang was in the wrong this time, but she also loved her too much, so can you pity her and not fuss about it? She just wants to be a concubine, it won't affect you much. Can't you agree to her request? Leng Ruoxue couldn't help speaking up for Bai Fang's pitiful Luo Xing'er before she could answer. Xing'er, what nonsense are you spouting? Luo Fei knew that something bad was about to happen when he heard his sister's words, so he quickly reprimanded her. Hee. Miss Luo and Miss Bai are really sisters. In that case, why don't you marry the same man so that you won't be separated in the future? Leng Ruoxue suggested with a light smile. She was a little speechless about this retarded Luo Xing'er. She really didn't know what was in her head. Chapter 659, Bloodline Contract, 1, How can that be? Luo Xing'er quickly declined. She liked big sister Fang a lot, but she was not willing to share half of her husband with her. Are you unwilling? Miss Luo, haven't you heard of the saying don't do to others what you don't want? You actually want to impose something that you're unwilling to do on others. It's too funny. Leng Ruoxue said with slight sarcasm. I. That's because big sister Fang likes him. Luo Xing'er pointed at the freak and quibbled. Oh, do I have to share half of my man with her just because she likes it? Who do you think she is? Who do you think you are? Leng Ruoxue said disdainfully. Xing'er, shut up. Luo Xian roared anxiously when he saw his daughter becoming more and more out of hand. Father, Luo Xing'er still wanted to say something, but this time, Luo Xian didn't want to give her the chance to say anything. A slap landed on Luo Xing'er's face with a bang. Father, you actually hit me. Luo Xing'er's eyes welled up with tears as she said in disbelief. A trace of blood seeped out of the corner of her mouth, indicating that Luo Xian's slap was not light. I told you not to spout nonsense and meddle in other people's affairs. Luo Xian roared angrily. Alas! This daughter of his was really spoiled by them. She actually couldn't differentiate right from wrong. She obviously knew what Bai Fang had done, but she still spoke up for that woman. He knew that if he didn't teach his daughter a lesson now, it would be difficult to say whether this daughter would still be alive when Leng Ruoxue attacked. However, Xing'er wouldn't understand from her appearance. Patriarch Luo is such a good father. Leng Ruoxue said with slight mockery. Did Luo Xian think she would let Luo Xing'er go just like that? What a fantasy. I'm sorry, Miss Leng. I didn't teach my daughter well. Please spare my daughter on my account. Luo Xian pleaded. Father, why are you begging her? I didn't do anything wrong. Luo Xing'er cried indignantly. Her father had never hit her since she was young, but not only did he hit her today, he even had to beg that woman. She really didn't know why. Xing'er, shut up. Luo Fei couldn't bear it anymore and roared. This sister was really too insensible. Didn't father do it for her? It seems like Miss Luo doesn't appreciate it. Coincidentally, I don't intend to let you go either, Leng Ruoxue said ruthlessly. To be honest, she really didn't have the desire to kill this little flower who grew up in a greenhouse because she felt too little of a sense of accomplishment. However, Luo Xing'er challenged her bottom line again and again. Alas! If she really showed mercy, this brainless young miss would probably think that she was afraid of the Luo family. Miss Leng, please show mercy, Luo Fei pleaded. Zhengyan, deal with Bai Fang first. Leng Ruoxue ignored the Luo father and son and ordered Zheng En directly. Okay. Zheng En pinched Bai Fang's chin and threw the black pill in his hand in. Then he let go of Bai Fong and carefully observed her reaction. Ahem. Bai Fong, who had regained her freedom, coughed violently, wanting to cough out the pill. Unfortunately, the pill melted in her mouth and disappeared long ago. A few minutes later, Bai Fong suffered severe abdominal pain, and a small portion of her body ulcerated, starting from her face. Ah! It hurts. Bai Fong rolled on the ground in pain and kept shouting. Unfortunately, Len Ruoxue and the others were not protective of the fairer sex, and Luo Xian, Guan Yulong, and the others naturally would not speak up for Bai Fong. They did not want to offend Len Ruoxue for an irrelevant woman. As for Luo Xing'er, she was trembling in fright from Bai Fang's tragic state and did not dare to say another word. Bai Fong, who ordered you to do this? Len Ruoxue asked calmly. She didn't believe that Bai Fong would dare to spread such rumors wantonly without anyone backing her up. No. No one ordered me. Bai Fang's eyes flashed with panic. She knew that she couldn't say it even though her stomach hurt. Otherwise, that person would not let her go. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. Aren't you going to say it? Zheng En, give her another pill, Len Ruoxue ordered emotionlessly. Ah. Miss, she'll be dead if you add one more pill, Zheng En reminded. One pill could torture Bai Fong and she would not die even if she wanted to. However, he was afraid that Bai Fong would benefit from eating 2 pills. Don't worry. She won't die from 2 pills, but the pain will double, Len Ruoxue said understandingly. She knew the medicinal purposes of the medicine once Zheng En took it out, which was why she was comfortable with the increase in dosage. Moreover, how could she let Bai Fong die easily? All right. Zheng En took out another pill, then pinched Bai Fang's chin, threw the pill in, and immediately let go of his hand in disdain. He even took out a piece of cloth to wipe his hand, as if the illness on Bai Fang's body was contagious. Ah! So painful. So painful. Bai Fang's pain was indeed more serious. Moreover, it was only an abdominal pain just now, but now it developed to the pain all over her body, and her body emitted a stink that made everyone present couldn't help covering their mouths and noses. Miss Bai, didn't anyone tell you not to offend an alchemist no matter who you offend? If an alchemist wants you to suffer a fate worse than death, there will be thousands of ways. The current you probably don't even have the strength to commit suicide, right? However, if you tell me the truth, I will consider letting you die a faster death. Len Ruoxue listed her conditions. I will speak, let me die peacefully. Bai Fong, who was twitching and shrinking into a ball on the ground, said painfully. Very good. Only those who know the facts can die peacefully. Len Ruoxue was very satisfied with Bai Fang's cooperation. Len Ruoxue, I'm very jealous of you, but I know that I'm not your match, so I can only pretend to be pitiful in front of you. However, someone told me a method, which is to separate your gang, so I sent someone to do it. However, I didn't expect me to still fail, haha. Bai Fong laughed painfully. She knew that even if she died, that man would not look at her again. However, she had lost her life for that man. She really didn't know if what she did was worth it or not. Chapter 660, Bloodline Contract, 2, You speak too much nonsense. You just have to tell me who instigated you to do it. As for the others, you can slowly savor them in hell. Len Ruoxue said impatiently. What told me all this was, Bai Fong was about to say it when a white light flashed. Immediately after, Bai Fong stopped breathing. Miss, she's dead. Zheng En probed Bai Fang's nose and said. Okay. Len Ruoxue nodded. Damn it, someone actually killed Bai Fong in front of so many people, and they didn't even notice. This really depressed her. Swear, don't be depressed. The one who killed Bai Fong was at least a mystic sovereign, and he was good at concealed weapons, Empty said comfortingly. In fact, he was also quite depressed because he felt that he was a little careless. He actually didn't realize that someone was hiding near them. "I'm fine," Leng Ruoxue said gloomily. "Miss, what should we do with Luo Xing'er?" Zheng An asked and changed the topic. "Ah. He didn't want Miss to make him unhappy because of Bai Fang. Didn't you want to test the medicine?" Leng Ruoxue said lightly. "Yes. The experiment time was too short just now," Zheng An said with some regret. However, it would probably not be easy to let Luo Xing'er test the medicine. She had her father and brother to protect her. Alas! A child with a father and brother was a treasure. A child without anyone to love was a blade of grass. Bai Fang was the best example. "No, I don't want to. Father, save me." Luo Xing'er was a little scared silly seeing Bai Fang's tragic state. After seeing Bai Fang die, her mind went blank. She finally returned to her senses and heard these two people saying that they wanted to test her on medicine. She was so scared that she hurriedly shouted, "Boo-hoo!" She didn't want to become as painful as Bai Fang, covered in pus and emitting a stink. She didn't want to. "Miss Leng, please show mercy and let Xing'er go." Luo Xian continued to plead. He only had one daughter, and she had been spoiled since childhood. Alas! "Don't worry. She doesn't deserve to die, so I won't kill her. However, my subordinates wanted to test the medicine, so she had to sacrifice herself." Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. "Testing medicine, wouldn't that be worse than death?" Luo Xian was even more afraid when he heard this. Boo-hoo! With Bai Fang's example, how could he watch helplessly as his daughter tested medicine for others? Therefore, he steeled his heart and knelt in front of Leng Ruoxue with a plop. "Miss Leng, please let my daughter go." "I'll do anything as long as you let him go," Luo Xian pleaded bitterly. Luo Fei hurriedly knelt down when he saw his father kneeling. "Miss Leng, Xing'er is insensible and offended you. I'm willing to suffer on her behalf. Use me to test the medicine," Luo Fei said. "Fei'er, don't spout nonsense. You are the hope of our Luo family. You can't. Alas! Father is old. The Luo family will rely on you in the future. Miss Leng, use me to test the medicine. Xing'er is my daughter. It's the fault of a child not teaching the father. I should suffer on her behalf," Luo Xian hurriedly said. "What deep affection between father and son. You love your daughter. Unfortunately, the people you love might not be grateful to you." Leng Ruoxue looked at the silly Luo Xing'er and said mockingly. Alas! Luo Xing'er had a good father and a good brother. Unfortunately, she didn't know if Luo Xing'er knew how to cherish. "What are you doing? Miss didn't say she wanted to kill Luo Xing'er." "Don't make things difficult for Miss," Lu Tao said with some dissatisfaction. Humph. These people were too much. They knew that Miss valued familial love, but they actually did this. "Miss Leng, Xing'er is my daughter." Luo Xian wanted to explain, but he was interrupted by Leng Ruoxue before he could say anything. "I told you, I won't kill her. However, the death penalty can be spared, but the crime of living is unforgivable. If I let her go, with her intelligence, she will definitely think that I'm afraid of your Luo family. Therefore, for her own good, don't protect her anymore," Leng Ruoxue said understandingly. In fact, the reason why she didn't kill Luo Xing'er was not only because she didn't take her seriously, but also because of Luo Xian and his son. If they were as indiscriminate as Luo Xing'er, they could just kill her, but they were not that kind of people. "No, we will watch over her. Miss Leng, please let her go," Luo Xian hurriedly promised. "Look at her. Can you look at her? If you can look at her, you wouldn't have brought her here today. If I'm not mistaken, she probably wants to come no matter what, so you had no choice but to follow her," Leng Ruoxue said understandingly. Humph. She knew that some uninvited guests would be attracted when Qing Ju teleported everything here to Guanyu City. However, she didn't care for her innocence. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. Leng Ruoxia's words left the Luo father and son speechless. They knew very well that it was because of their soft-heartedness that Xing'er had offended this eldest miss again. Alas! Zheng Yan, do it. Leng Ruoxia ordered. She would not learn her lesson until this Miss Luo suffered a little. Okay. Zheng Yan walked to Luo Xing'er, who was standing foolishly, and took out a pill. He pinched her chin and was about to deliver it to Luo Xing'er's mouth, but... No, no. I swear on my bloodline that I am willing to recognize Leng Ruoxia as my master, to be my slave for life, and never betray her. Luo Xian wanted to save his daughter, but he found that his body couldn't move anymore, and Luo Fei was the same. Therefore, in a hurry, he swore a bloodline oath and recognized Leng Ruoxia as his master. Buzz! A contract law descended from the sky just as Luo Xian finished speaking. A blood contract array enveloped Leng Ruoxia, the Luo father and son. The contract was formally established in a few minutes, and then the contract law slowly disappeared. Leng Ruoxia widened her eyes and looked at Luo Xian gloomily. This damn old man didn't cause any trouble with the bloodline contract. It was really infuriating. She had never thought of taking the Luo family in as a servant. Moreover, this bloodline contract was very overbearing because even though the contract was issued by Luo Xian alone, anyone related to Luo Xian, be it the main or side branches, would become her servant, even their descendants. Ah! To put it bluntly, the descendants of the Luo family already had masters before they were born. As for the seniors of the Luo family, they were even worse. They had worked hard for their entire lives and were finally made masters by their descendants. Not only that, their lives were in the hands of their masters. Chapter 661, Bloodline Contract, 3, Master, please let Xing'er go. Luo Xian said helplessly. Boo-hoo. He knew that he was a little impulsive, but he had no choice. Could he watch helplessly as his daughter was tortured? He still had lingering fears about Bai Fang's tragic state. Old man, are you stupid? You've already become my young Miss servant. How Miss wants to deal with your precious daughter now can be done with a word. Moreover, you don't even have the right to object, Feng De reminded with a chuckle. Ah! Luo Xian was a little dumbfounded. Yes. How could he have forgotten about this matter? Boo-hoo. He originally thought that this eldest miss would not make things difficult for Xing'er since his entire family had become Leng Ruoxia's people. However, he had forgotten the master-servant relationship between them. Did he make a fool of himself? Boo-hoo. Master, let Xing'er go and let me try that medicine. Luo Fei pleaded helplessly. Alas! They didn't even have the mood to resist in front of Leng Ruoxia now because they would die without a burial ground with a single thought from Leng Ruoxia. She didn't even have to do anything. Alright, I won't give her that medicine since you've become my servants now. However, I'll give her another one, Leng Ruoxia said after some thought. Master. Luo Xian and Luo Fei stared at Leng Ruoxia with pleading eyes. Zheng Yan, give this to Luo Xing'er. Leng Ruoxia took out a pill and handed it to Zheng Yan. Yes. Zheng Yan took the pill, ignored the pitiful gazes of the Luo father and son, and threw the pill directly into Luo Xing'er's mouth. Humph. Don't offend an alchemist no matter who you offend, or your end will be tragic. Master, what medicine did you give Xing'er? Luo Xian asked carefully. Boo-hoo. At this point, he knew that it was useless to beg. However, it was also fine to let his daughter suffer less. It could be seen that his request was becoming lower and lower. Medicine that can make her lose her voice, Leng Ruoxia said lightly. Oh. Fortunately, Luo Xian was relieved. He just couldn't talk. It was okay, as long as he didn't have to suffer. Ah. Luo Xing'er quickly lost her voice after taking the medicine. She opened her mouth to speak but couldn't say anything. Moreover, she heard Lin Ruoxia's words, but she didn't dare to be disrespectful to her in the slightest. Moreover, she had a trace of instinctive fear for Lin Ruoxia. Lin Ruoxia looked at the terrified Luo Xing'er and said indifferently to Luo Xian and his son, "Leave with Luo Xing'er. Remember, you are now my servants. I can take your lives at any time, so go back and teach her a good lesson. Don't blame me for being heartless if she dares to be indiscriminate again." If Luo Xing'er dared to provoke her again, even if she killed Luo Xing'er, the father and son of the Luo family would not dare to say anything, much less bear a grudge against her. This was the benefit of the bloodline contract. Ah! She suddenly felt some pity for Luo Xian now. He swore an oath and handed the lives of his entire family to her. Although she was a little unwilling to accept it, Luo Xian must be even more depressed than her at this moment. However, Lin Ruoxia did not expect Luo Xian to know about bloodline contracts because, as far as she knew, this kind of contract had been lost for a long time. At least, no one on the Ling Feng continent knew about it. Could it be that the level of space here was higher than on the Ling Feng continent? She pondered. "Master, don't worry. I will definitely teach her a lesson," Luo Xian hurriedly promised. Boo-hoo, impulse kills. Just as Lin Ruoxia thought, he was so depressed that he wanted to bang his head against the wall. Unfortunately, the lives of their entire family belonged to Master now. They couldn't die even if they wanted to unless Master killed them. Yes, if there's a next time, it's death. Lin Ruoxia reminded. "I promise there won't be a next time," Luo Xian said. After speaking, he didn't leave directly but led his children to stand very respectfully behind Lin Ruoxia. At this moment, Lin Ruoxia looked at Bai Fang's corpse and was about to burn it when Feng Zhan's voice suddenly sounded in her heart. "Master, leave such a small matter to me. You don't have to do it yourself," Feng Zhan said after watching the commotion in the bracelet for a long time. "Okay." Lin Ruoxia nodded and let Feng Zhan out. After Feng Zhan emerged, he affectionately rubbed his little head against Lin Ruoxia's beautiful face. Then he spat a small flame on Bai Fang's body. It only took a few seconds to burn Bai Fang to ashes. The father and son of the Luo family looked at the small and cute little red bird, and their foreheads were full of cold sweat. They were even more surprised. Heavens! What kind of fire was this? The temperature was actually so high. They could still feel the hot temperature even though they were not very close. This little bird that was not even the size of a palm was really too strong. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. Luo family, you might be my master's servants, but listen up. Whoever from your Luo family dares to be disrespectful to my master will end up like that annoying woman. I want show mercy. Feng Zhan flew in front of Luo Xian and the others and threatened. You too. If anyone wants to test the temperature of this king's flame, don't hesitate to bring it on. Feng Zhan said to Guan Yuelong and the others, his words still full of threat. Ah! How can we be enemies with Miss Leng? Guan Yuelong wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and thought to himself, this little bird is really too terrifying. He decided that if any blind person in the Guan Yu family annoyed Miss Leng, he would definitely be the first to deal with it. He couldn't let this little bird find an excuse to burn their main mansion. At least you're sensible. I'll tell you the truth. Our master has a lot of beasts that specialize in scratching and biting people. I, on the other hand, am in charge of setting off the fire drops. Therefore, you have to be careful. My master can't be provoked, Feng Zhan continued. Ah. We understand, the first elder of the Guan Yu family said hurriedly. Boo-hoo. This girl's beast was also so difficult to deal with. Very good. Master, am I right? Feng Zhan nodded with satisfaction and then flew to Leng Ruoxu's shoulder to curry favor. Chapter 662, Bloodline Contract, 4, OK. Leng Ruoxue coaxed helplessly, thinking, Feng Zhan. We have to keep a low profile and not be smug. Swear, the matter has been resolved. Let's go back, the freak suggested. Boo-hoo. His innocence had finally been found. Damn it, if Bai Feng hadn't been killed, he would definitely make the woman who dared to have any ideas about him suffer a fate worse than death. However, even if she was dead, she would still not have an easy life. Okay. Leng Ruoxue nodded and everyone returned to their residence. After returning to her residence, Leng Ruoxue realized that the Luo father and sons had also returned. She asked curiously, "What are you doing here?" "Miss, we are your servants now." "Who should we follow if not you?" Luo Xian said aggrievedly. Boo-hoo. He could tell that his master didn't like them. However, raw rice had already been cooked. They couldn't deny it even if they wanted to. "You don't have to follow me. Go back to your Luo family. I'll send someone to contact you if there's anything you need to do." 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruoxu's forehead as she said speechlessly. "Oh, all right then." Luo Xian replied. Then he led his children away. "Miss, there are also some old farts in the Luo family. I'm afraid a round of beating will be unavoidable after Luo Xian returns to the Luo family." Ningde gloated. Hee, this matter was really too dramatic. None of them expected Luo Xian to actually do this for his daughter. This was very rare in the families. Presumably, Miss did not intend to kill Luo Xing'er because of Luo Xian's love for her daughter. "Yes, I won't kill Luo Xing'er even if he doesn't release the bloodline contract. However, physical pain is unavoidable," Leng Ruoxue said. She had never experienced fatherly love in both her previous life and this life, so she was more or less touched that Luo Xian loved his daughter. Moreover, she had also said that she would not kill Luo Xing'er. However, she didn't expect Luo Xian to love his daughter so much that he couldn't bear to let her suffer physical pain. Alas! Hopefully, Luo Xing'er could understand the hearts of her father and brother and truly grow up. "Miss, I think that Luo Xian is scared silly," Fengde interrupted. "Fengde, you will understand the heart of a parent when you have a child," Leng Ruoxue said. "Yes, it's really rare for such familial affection to exist in an aristocratic family," Ningde said. Luo Xing'er might be a little out of line, but her father and brother were sensible people. "Yes, or I wouldn't have let Luo Xing'er go. By the way, Ningde, we plan to leave Moon-Gazing City tomorrow," Leng Ruoxue said indifferently. "Leave? Then what should I do?" Ningde quickly put on a long face and pretended to be pitiful when he heard that. "Of course you should continue being your president." Leng Ruoxue pretended to be stupid. "Old Ning. We'll visit you when we have time. Be good and don't cry." Fengde teased with a naughty smile. "Miss, can I go training with you?" Ningde asked bravely because he knew that he might not have a chance in the future if he didn't dare to ask. "No, you have to continue being your president," Leng Ruoxue refused. If Ningde was not the president, she might have brought him along with her based on his performance during this period. However, his identity was not there, so she could not take him away. "Oh, miss, you're leaving tomorrow. Rest early today," Ningde said gloomily. Then he bowed to Leng Ruoxue and left. "Everyone, rest early. We'll leave early tomorrow morning," Leng Ruoxue said to Fengde and the others after Ningde left. Then, with a thought, she brought everyone into the bracelet. The next morning, Leng Ruoxue and the others saw the alchemists of the Alchemist Association blocking their way collectively as soon as they emerged from the yard. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. Miss Leng, the president asked us to send you off. He said he had something to do and didn't want to come, an alchemist said. Oh, thank you. We're leaving. Leng Ruoxue nodded. She knew that Ningde probably didn't dare to come because he was afraid of being too sad. Leng Ruoxue and the others left Moon-Gazing City after bidding farewell to the people from the Alchemist Association. They admired the scenery by the side of the road as they walked. However, they were stopped by a group of men in black not long after. Miss Leng Ruoxue, the leader of the men in black, said coldly. No, you've got the wrong person, Leng Ruoxue denied. She didn't know what these people were for, but she couldn't be bothered to deal with them. Hee, Miss Leng really likes to joke. The leader of the men in black laughed gloomily, the displeasure in his eyes flashing for a moment. I never joke with people I don't know, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. Miss Leng, don't pretend to be stupid. Why would we stop you if we don't know you? The leader of the men in black said proudly. Then why are you asking me who I am? Leng Ruoxue raised her eyebrows slightly and said with displeasure. These men in black really had too much nonsense. It would be better to tell them the reason directly. We have to confirm it out of courtesy. Miss Leng, our patriarch invites you to be a guest, the leader of the men in black said without anger and made his intentions clear. No, I don't know your patriarch, Leng Ruoxue refused bluntly. Then she looked up at the men in black in front of her with her beautiful eyes. There were about 50 people in this group of men in black, and their overall strength was not bad. The person in the lead was a mystic sovereign, and the others were also at the mystic monarch level. However, these people looked at her as if they were looking at prey, which she disliked very much. Our Wu family's patriarch invited you as a guest. Don't you know what's good for you? Before the leader of the men in black could say anything, a man in black roared first impatiently. So what if I don't know what's good for me? I don't know any patriarch of the Wu family. Do I have to go just because he invited me? What kind of logic is that? Leng Ruoxue smiled lightly, her beautiful face full of disdain. Our patriarch invited you because he thinks highly of you, so you have to go no matter what, the man in black continued with an arrogant expression on his face. Chapter 663, To Die in the Dark, 1, What if I don't go? Leng Ruoxue asked calmly. Miss Leng, we invited you nicely. Don't blame us for being nasty if you're unwilling to go. The patriarch said that we have to kidnap you even if we have to. The leader of the men in black said with a light smile. Oh, if I understand it correctly, are you planning to force me if I don't go? Leng Ruoxue asked uncertainly. Miss Leng, the patriarch has ordered us to invite you no matter what, the leader of the men in black said honestly. I see. The man in black didn't say it explicitly, but Leng Ruoxue already understood what he meant. She either took the initiative to go or tied her up. However, she knew that she had another choice. She just didn't want to go. Why should she obediently deliver herself to the door when the Wu family had invited her? Even if she wanted to visit, it had to be when she wanted to go. No one could force her when she didn't want to go. Since Miss Leng already knows, don't make things difficult for us. We don't want to hurt Miss Leng, so, the leader of the men in black advised kindly, but he was interrupted by Leng Ruoxue before he could finish. No. Leng Ruoxue refused very bluntly. Boss, this woman is obviously refusing a toast and taking a forfeit. Why are you still so polite to her? A man in black said impatiently. No one had dared to not give their Wu family face in the boundless heaven continent. Miss Leng, the leader of the men in black, didn't give up and seemed to want to continue persuading her. However, he was interrupted by Leng Ruoxue before he could say anything. I said I won't go, Leng Ruoxue said emotionlessly. She had never liked being forced since she was young, so she was very uninterested in the Wu family's method of inviting people. Miss Leng, don't blame me for not caring for the fairer sex since you don't give me face. The leader of the men in black narrowed his eyes and said coldly. What? Do you want to snatch it in broad daylight? Leng Ruoxua smiled lightly. That beautiful smile dazzled the eyes of the group of men in black, making them dizzy. They were all stunned. Miss Leng, we didn't want to do this either. However, you refused to go, and we have to complete the task the patriarch gave us, so we can only let Miss Leng down, the leader of the men in black explained very coldly after coming back to his senses. Guards, take Miss Leng away and kill the others. The leader of the men in black ordered his subordinates confidently after speaking to Leng Ruoxua. Yes. The subordinates in black had been waiting for their leader's instructions and hurriedly answered. Miss, they want to kill us. Boo-hoo, Lu Tao grabbed Leng Ruoxua's sleeve and said with tears in her beautiful eyes. The word scared was still written on her beautiful face. Yes. Leng Ruoxua nodded. She heard it. Girl, don't be scared. We have always been protective of the fairer sex. We won't kill you. Well, kill those men if we want to, a man in black hurriedly comforted her with lecherous eyes. Who cares about your protective feelings for the fairer sex? Humph. Lu Tao felt that she had been teased and said very displeased. You don't want it? It'll make you beg me for it later. Ha! The man in black laughed hysterically and looked Lu Tao up and down obscenely. Well, he didn't have a chance with that stunning beauty. However, he wouldn't lend her if he could eat her. He was daydreaming. Pa! 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 Fengde went forward and slapped the man in black several times. Damn, how dare you tease my woman? Do you think I'm dead? If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. The man in black was a little stunned by the sudden slap and did not recover for a long time. However, when he recovered and wanted to take revenge, Fengde had already returned to his team, and he did not see who hit him at all just now. Miss Leng, even if you don't think for yourself, you have to think for your subordinates. If you don't go, their end will only be death, the leader of the men in black advised again. Do you think you can snatch me away? Kill them? Leng Ruoxua said speechlessly. Where did these people get their confidence from? Could it be that they were treated as easy prey because they hid their strength? Humph. There are so many of us. You can only surrender, so it's better to be sensible, the leader of the men in black said confidently. We won't be captured. Kill if you want to and snatch if you want. Leng Ruoxua didn't want to talk nonsense with them anymore and said directly. Humph. Miss Leng, I'm persuading you nicely, but you don't know how to grasp the opportunity. Don't blame me. Brothers, attack, the leader of the men in black ordered directly. As soon as he gave the order, many men in black surrounded Leng Ruoxua and the others. Little black shirt, did so many of you come? Fengde said with a face full of pity. Alas! There were too few people. They each couldn't get to. It was really a pity. Damn it, don't call us little black shirt, the leader of the men in black said very displeased. They were the elites of the Wu family, and now they were actually called little black shirt. This was too embarrassing. But I can't call you Blackie. My young Miss Dog is already called Blackie, Feng Degu explained as if it was difficult. You. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and attack. The leader of the men in black was angry. Damn, this despicable man actually compared them to dogs. It was really infuriating. Cheer up. It's better than nothing even though there are fewer people. Leng Ruoxua comforted them. Alas! She knew that they despised the other party for having too few people, seeing how uninterested Fengde and the others were. Then listen to Mississippi. It's barely passable. Fengde said with dissatisfaction, muttering from time to time. Okay, play slowly. I'll take a break. Leng Ruoxua pulled the freak and ignored the existence of the men in black. She found a clean place to sit down and planned to watch from the side. Seeing this, old man Wu He also sat down beside them. Chapter 664, To Die in the Dark, 2, Schwer, there are so many of them. Are we going to do nothing? Empty asked impatiently. Of course, you're not allowed to attack. Otherwise, my subordinates won't have any practice, Len Ruoxue reminded. Among these people, other than the leader of the men in black, the others were all on par with her elder brother, Fengde, and the others, so it was most suitable to use them for practice. Oh. Empty answered gloomily. Boo-hoo. It had been a long time since he beat someone up. He also wanted to exercise. Let's go to the Wu family after we deal with these people. I'll leave those old farts of the Wu family to you then, Len Ruoxue said very generously. Really? You said it yourself. Don't go back on your word. Empty said hurriedly. He had to settle this matter first lest someone snatch it from him. Of course, the freak and I won't snatch it from you, Len Ruoxue promised. Lass, didn't you not want to go to the Wu family? The little old man said doubtfully. Ah. From what the girl said, could it be that she wanted to take the initiative to deliver herself to him? Of course I don't want to go since they invited me. I have to go willingly if I want to, Len Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. I think you're obviously asking me to practice with these people on purpose. Empty said understandingly. He had long seen through Schwer's little thoughts. You're really getting to know me better, Len Ruoxue said with a slightly smug smile. All right. She admitted that she deliberately wanted to anger these people, but not wanting to be forced to go was also one of the reasons. While Len Ruoxue and the others were chatting, Len Ruhan and the others were already fighting with the group of men in black. Compared to the high fighting spirit of Fengde and the others, the men in black were extraordinarily depressed because they never dreamed that these people who seemed to only have the strength of an elementary mystic would transform into mystic monarchs instantly. Moreover, their individual combat strength was above theirs. Freak, should we find that leader to practice? Len Ruoxue looked at the leader of the men in black who had been standing there without moving. Alas! This leader of the men in black was too confident in the strength of his subordinates. Therefore, he couldn't help being a little dumbfounded when he saw the strength of his elder brother and the others at first glance. Okay, the freak answered with a naughty smile. His hands were a little itchy seeing the saber flashes, sword shadows, and mystic energy flying not far away. Len Ruoxue and the freak's gazes collided, and they smiled at each other. Then the two of them stood up in unison and walked toward the leader of the men in black. What do you want? The leader of the men in black looked at Len Ruoxue and the freak cautiously. At this moment, he looked like a good woman who had encountered a lecher. He knew that he had kicked an iron plate this time, seeing that more than half of his subordinates had died in just a few minutes. The two people in front of him were obviously not to be trifled with, but he was actually careless just now. Boo-hoo. Don't be afraid. We won't use force on you. Len Ruoxue said with some amusement. This leader wasn't like this just now. Alas. He was still a mystic sovereign. How disappointing. Yes, there's no need to be afraid. We are only mystic monarchs, but you are a mystic sovereign. We are the ones who are afraid, the freak comforted with a stunning smile on his face. You. Stay away from me. The leader of the men in black didn't believe them at all. Boo-hoo. These people were liars. Their subordinates were obviously mystic monarchs, but they actually pretended to be elementary mystics. It was too much. No. Len Ruoxue refused and pulled the freak closer. You really don't have to be afraid. We're really just mystic monarchs, the freak said speechlessly. Alas. Wasn't this man too useless? Where did the courage to threaten them go? Who will believe you? You obviously hid your strength too. I won't be fooled, the leader of the men in black said very stubbornly. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBoxNovel. Thanks. Alas. To be honest, no one believes it. Freak, let's cut the crap with him and attack directly. Len Ruoxue said impatiently. All right. The freak nodded helplessly. Alas. It seemed like he could only use force. Do you want to attack in groups? This isn't fair to me, the leader of the men in black hurriedly roared. How can there be so much fairness in the world? Moreover, the two of us can't be considered as group attacks at all. In terms of group attacks, it's you two. Len Ruoxue said with slight mockery. Where are your beasts? Don't tell me you don't have any beasts, the freak reminded. What he implied was that he could release beasts to help him fight. Wait for me, the leader of the men in black said and summoned all his beasts. They flew in the sky and ran on the ground. The beasts of the leader of the men in black returned to their original forms as soon as they were released. They glared at Len Ruoxue and the freak covetously. Len Ruoxue looked at the huge beasts in front of her. Hee, there were actually 7. Among them, the weakest was a level 5 legendary beast, and the strongest was a level 2 transcendent divine beast. It seemed that this leader of the men in black had some capabilities. Otherwise, it was impossible to contract so many beasts. Do you need my help? Empty walked over and said with a light smile. Hee, there were so many beasts. Schwer should give him 2 no matter what. There's no need. Just watch from the side, Len Ruoxue said with a light smile. Schwer, give me that level 2 transcendent divine beast. Ill practice too, Empty pleaded shamelessly. No, I can share the ugliest among these beasts with you, Len Ruoxue said after some thought. The ugliest few? The beasts of the leader of the men in black looked at each other, not knowing who they were talking about because none of them would admit that they were the ugliest. Schwer, that doesn't match my image. Empty looked at the few beasts and said with slight dissatisfaction. Forget it if you don't want it, Len Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Yes. I want it. Empty said hurriedly. Boo-hoo. Schwer was too evil. He couldn't help but grumble in his heart, but his hand movement directly attacked the ugliest lizard. The huge, slightly cumbersome lizard saw that this man was the first to find it and was extremely depressed. Boo-hoo. Why was this? Could it be that it was the ugliest? Even though it never thought so. Chapter 665, To Die in the Dark, 3, Freak, let's begin too. Len Ruoxue summoned Feng Zhan and said to the freak. Master, leave those 2 flying in the sky to me. Feng Zhan said excitedly. Okay, Len Ruoxue answered. Then her gaze collided with the freak's. The 2 of them communicated silently and attacked the leader of the men in black at the same time. For a moment, 2 streams of light, one red and one black, suffused with silver light, were released from Len Ruoxue and the freak's hands like 2 intertwining beautiful galaxies, and they entangled the man in black. Len Ruoxue liked to use fire attribute skills, and the freak naturally used the dark attribute. This was the first time they used it on their enemies since they advanced to Mystic Monarch and cultivated advanced mystic techniques. They had also used advanced mystic techniques when they sparred with Cheng Wu and the others previously, but they had not used their full strength, so they were naturally not very clear about the power of their mystic techniques. Today was just the right time to test it on this man in black. The mystic technique Len Ruoxue used was called Fire Brilliance, a single-body advanced fire attribute mystic technique. She liked it very much when she learned this mystic technique for the first time because this mystic technique was very beautiful. The mystic technique released would carry dazzling silver light, and its power was relatively shocking. However, this was the first time she released 100% mystic power, so she was naturally very looking forward to the power created by this mystic technique. The freak's dark attribute mystic technique was called Dark Light, which was also an advanced defensive mystic technique with a corrosive effect. To be precise, dark attribute mystic energy had additional functions, so most mystics didn't like to fight mystics with the dark attribute because it was really too much of a loss. Damn it, it's actually the dark attribute, the leader of the men in black said gloomily. After really fighting and seeing the mystic techniques they used, he already knew Leng Ruoxue and the freak's strength, and he knew that they were not lying to him because the two people in front of him were really only mystic monarchs. However, weren't they a little too abnormal? These two people were absolutely the strongest mystic monarchs he had ever encountered. Moreover, the man with the very freakish appearance was actually of the dark attribute. Boo-hoo. Every mystic hoped to possess darkness attribute mystic energy, but they didn't want to meet an enemy with the dark attribute. However, he just happened to encounter one. Alas! The leader of the men in black felt that he was really unlucky. One had to know that there were very few mystics with the darkness attribute. He didn't expect to meet them today. Moreover, even though he blocked the two attacks just now, his clothes were still corroded by the darkness attribute mystic power to form a hole, and white smoke was coming out. Freak, this old man is very powerful. He actually dodged it, Leng Ruoxue said gloomily. Boo-hoo. She used 100% of her mystic energy. She actually didn't injure this man in black. Yes, I like powerful ones. You can beat them up without any qualms. To put it simply, you can take the beating, the freak said with a naughty smile. At the same time, a black mystic energy thinner than a strand of hair was quietly released from his fingertips. But this old man's defense is very strong, and his strength is above ours. We will have some teeth when we eat, Leng Ruoxue reminded. No, let's eat slowly, the freak said nonchalantly. Damn it, have you said enough? It's my turn now, the leader of the men in black roared furiously. These two juniors really didn't take him seriously. Of course, they actually discussed him in front of him and even called him an old man. It was really infuriating. Old man, attack if you want to. This isn't a competition. There's no need to inform us. Leng Ruoxue said without gratitude. Damn it. The man in black roared, and a ray of light blue mystic power gathered in his hand. However, before he could cast his mystic technique, he was hit by a fiery red mystic technique shining with silver light. His body was slashed with several wounds, and his clothes were torn into pieces. You actually launched a sneak attack, the leader of the men in black roared angrily, and a trace of red blood seeped out of the corner of his mouth. How can this be called a sneak attack? We're fighting. Don't tell me I have to wait for you to gather your mystic energy to attack me before I attack. Even a fool can't be fooled like this. Leng Ruoxue said with a slightly mocking smile. Miss, you can do it. Kill this little leader in black. Suddenly, Feng Da's hooting sounded in Leng Ruoxue's ears. It turned out that Leng Ruhan and the others had already eliminated the more than 50 men in black. At this moment, they were surrounding them to watch the commotion. Empty had dealt with 3 beasts. Currently, its eyes were on the 4th beast, and the 2 beasts flying in the sky were confronting Feng Zhan, staring at each other. Yes, freak. It seems like we have to work hard. Leng Ruoxue nodded and then said to the freak. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Swear, I'm going to use my specialty, the freak said with a naughty smile. At this moment, the black mystic energy he had just released had already floated to the side of the leader of the men in black. However, the leader of the men in black did not notice at all and only glared fiercely at the two of them. Yes, me too. Leng Ruoxue instantly cast several blazing flames after speaking. In an instant, red light filled the sky and fire danced, dyeing half the sky a dazzling red. Moreover, the temperature in the air rapidly rose, so hot that Leng Ruhan and the others retreated a distance. It's so hot, Schwer. Empty complained and quickly dealt with the 4th beast he had targeted, leaving the troublesome place. Wow, master, it's so comfortable. I like it. Feng Zhan was overjoyed as he felt the scorching temperature. It loved fire the most, so such a temperature was its favorite. Feng Zhan liked it, but the two beasts that stared at him didn't like it at all. Moreover, they were afraid that they would be grilled if they stayed any longer. However, they were sadly entangled by Feng Zhan and couldn't escape at all. Boo-hoo. Alas. I better send you on your way early. See how kind I am, Feng Zhan said narcissistically. Then he spat out a mouthful of southern spirit flame. In an instant, the flames devoured the two beasts that had yet to attack. Chapter 666, To Die in the Dark, 4, Ah. Master, save us. The two beasts couldn't help asking for help before they were devoured by the flames. However, how could the leader of the men in black care about his beasts now? He had long been scared silly by Leng Ruoxu's instantaneous mystic technique. No. This is impossible. How can you instantly use a mystic technique? The man in black's face was full of disbelief. In his memory, no one could instantly use a mystic technique at all because every time he used a mystic technique, he needed the support and nurturing of countless mystic powers. Just like what he did just now, if his mystic power was insufficient, he would be unable to release a mystic technique at all. The higher the level of a mystic technique, the more mystic power it naturally required. Therefore, even a mystic supremacy could not immediately cast it a second time after releasing a heaven-level mystic technique. Why can't I instantly cast mystic techniques? Leng Ruoxue asked with a face full of question marks. Because no one can instantly use mystic techniques at all, the leader of the men in black said gloomily. At the same time he spoke, he set up an earthen yellow curtain wall in front of him. TCH, others can't, but it doesn't mean I can't either. I have a lot of mystic energy, so I can send it as many times as I want, Leng Ruoxue said angrily and counted in her heart. 3, 2, 1. She had just counted when she heard a bang. The fire blaze she instantly released broke through the curtain wall and attacked the leader of the men in black. The leader of the men in black was caught off guard. Perhaps he was too confident in his defense, so when he vomited blood and fell to the ground, his widened eyes were still full of disbelief. It was the undying eye. It's finally resolved. Leng Ruoxue clapped with satisfaction. Schwer, I haven't used my specialty yet. Why did you kill him? The freak said resentfully. Boo-hoo. Schwer was bullying. Ah. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't expect him to be so weak, Leng Ruoxue said guiltily. He's only a mystic sovereign. How sturdy can you count on his body? The freak complained, his face full of grievance. Are you two going to let me live? The mystic monarch killed the mystic sovereign, and you actually despise my weak body. You're too much. Empty couldn't bear it anymore and said. These two perverts. If he was the leader of the men in black, he would be angered to death by them. Ah. Leng Ruoxue and the freak were stunned. Are we really too much? Master, I've already cleaned up the battlefield. Shall we go to the Wu family? At this moment, Feng Zhan flew to Leng Ruoxue's shoulder and said ingratiatingly. Leng Ruoxue looked up gently at her surroundings when she heard Feng Zhan's words. Sure enough, she saw signs that had just been burned, and flames were burning in some places. Ah! Feng Zhan was really fast. Feng Zhan had cleaned up the battlefield before she could say anything. Yes, well done. Leng Ruoxue caressed Feng Zhan's soft feathers with a smile in her eyes and praised. Hee hee. Feng Zhan laughed foolishly. Feng Zhan, you're pretty fast. Feng De and the others praised. Of course. This is my forte, Feng Zhan said cockily. Ha! Miss, shall we go to the Wu family? Feng De said eagerly. Hee hee, the Wu family should have more people than this. Okay. Leng Ruoxue nodded. Then she moved the little peacock out of the bracelet and beckoned everyone to sit on it. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBoxNovel.com. Thanks. After everyone was seated, the little peacock flapped its wings and flew toward the martial immortal where the Wu family was. 3 days later. Near noon, everyone arrived at martial immortal city happily. Outside the city gate, Leng Ruoxue, who was sitting on the little peacock, looked at the tall and mighty city walls of martial immortal city and hesitated about how to enter. "Miss, shall we go in?" the little peacock asked cautiously. "Yes, I'm thinking whether we should keep a low profile or keep a high profile," Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. "Miss, of course we have to be more high profile. Being low-key will make people think we're easy to bully," Fengde said with a naughty smile. "Sure, I agree with being more high profile. Anyway, we're here to cause trouble, there's no need to keep a low profile," Empty agreed. "Okay, let's start with the city walls of martial immortal city." "Hee, let's see if the city walls are sturdy enough," Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly, as if her suggestion was similar to eating and sleeping. "Hee, okay." Fengde and the others rubbed their palms excitedly. "Little peacock, find a less crowded place to land," Leng Ruoxue ordered. "Yes, miss," the little peacock replied. Then it flew to an uninhabited corner of the city gate and descended. Leng Ruoxue moved Big Harry and Air Mao out of the bracelet and said to the two beasts, "Big Harry, Air Mao, let me try if this city wall is sturdy." "Okay." Harry number 2 was excited. This was their favorite thing to do. After speaking, Harry Ball transformed back into its original form. Then 2 giant bears more than 10 meters tall approached the city wall and slapped down with its huge bear paw. A crack appeared on the city wall after the slap, but the city wall did not collapse. Fur was a little depressed at first sight. Well, it seemed that they used too little strength. At this point, they increased their strength and slapped down from the sky. After that, a third of the cracked city wall collapsed with a bang. The two beasts were overjoyed at the sight and hurriedly replenished their strength. "Paw! Paw! Paw!" The originally intact city wall turned into a gorgeous ruin in the blink of an eye. "Ah! What happened?" The guards guarding the city were scared stiff and quickly became alert. The guards who escaped death and were almost buried in the city wall also began to search for the enemy. "Who are you? Did you push the city walls of martial immortal city?" The guards searched and couldn't help asking when they found Leng Ruoxue and the others standing in the corner, as well as the 2 huge bears. "No, look at which one of us seems to be so strong." Leng Ruoxue denied resolutely. She would not admit anything without evidence. Chapter 667, Go and knock on the door for me. 1. Then why are you standing here? A guard asked doubtfully. Humph. These people's traces were really too suspicious. We just arrived at martial immortal city and were about to enter the city, but who knew that your city walls were so weak? Alas. It seems like the security in this city isn't much better, Leng Ruoxue said with great disappointment. Who said so? Our martial immortal city is famous for its good security, a guard argued indignantly. Your city walls have collapsed, yet you still dare to say that the security in your city is good? Leng Ruoxue raised her eyebrows slightly and said doubtfully. Ah. These are 2 separate matters, the guard said uncomfortably. Did you find anyone suspicious? At this moment, another voice interrupted. Then a middle-aged man appeared in front of them. Second butler, we haven't found anyone suspicious, the guard quickly reported. Oh, then who are they? The second butler sized up the freak and the others. However, his face couldn't help revealing a stunned expression when his gaze landed on Leng Ruoxue. Second butler, they want to enter the city, but the city wall collapsed before they could enter, the guard said hurriedly. Obviously, he believed Leng Ruoxue's words. Enter the city. Humph. I think they are very suspicious, and those 2 bears are even more suspicious. The second butler's green eyes glared and said fiercely. However, he was thinking in his heart that this woman was really too beautiful. The patriarch would definitely reward him heavily if he gave her to the patriarch. He was daydreaming. Second butler, is it? Are you trying to frame us without evidence? The freak asked calmly. Humph. As the second butler of the city lord's mansion, why would I do such a thing? The second butler pretended to be displeased. Why not? I heard that the second butler of the city lord's mansion has always been underhanded. Alas. Your city lord will definitely not let you go if he finds out, Len Ruoxue said fearfully with a gorgeous smile on her beautiful face. Nonsense. I have always been loyal to the city lord. Humph. Guards, capture these people who dare to slander this butler and await punishment. The second butler roared angrily, but the guards were a little hesitant and didn't attack. Len Ruoxue and the others also looked like they were watching a good show. What are you waiting for? Catch them quickly, the second butler ordered with might. Second butler, they want to enter the city. A guard rolled his eyes and reminded. Alas. Who would dare to come to their martial immortal city in the future if they knew that the city lord's mansion actually captured people entering the city casually? Humph. They are suspicious people. I suspect that they were the ones who caused the collapse of the city walls of our martial immortal city. The second butler said with certainty. In fact, he was right because Len Ruoxue was the one who got the two hairy beasts to do it. However, Len Ruoxue would not admit to such doings without evidence. Second butler, our city walls are very sturdy. How can they make them collapse? A guard argued with a face full of disbelief. It was not that he did not believe second butler, but he was too confident in the city walls of martial immortal city. After all, the city walls had thousands of years of history and had always been very sturdy. There were no cracks on the city walls even during the most chaotic times in the past. Therefore, he felt that the possibility of human destruction was not high. The possibility of natural collapse was very high after a long time. However, he did not dare to voice these doubts in front of the second butler. How is it impossible? Our city wall has been here for many years, so it's easy to be destroyed by them. The second butler glared at the green bean eyes and roared loudly, cursing this guard in his heart. Damn it, don't drag me down if you don't cooperate with me. He had decided to offer this stunning beauty in front of him to the city lord. Seems like this second butler wants to push the blame of the city walls being weak onto us. Alas. I didn't expect the Wu family to actually fall to the point where they can't even repair the city walls. It's really too disappointing. Len Ruoxue said with a face full of regret. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Nonsense. This city wall was destroyed by you yet you dare to quibble with me. Humph. Do you have the guts to go to the city lord's mansion with me and ask the city lord to adjudicate? The second butler said provocatively, feeling even more smug in his heart. He was really too smart. He would be a great contribution if he could trick this woman to the city lord's mansion. He believed that the city lord would definitely reward him. Why should we go to the city lord's mansion with you? Len Ruoxue pretended to be puzzled. That's right. How embarrassing would it be for us to go just like that? Lu Tao echoed. What? Are you afraid? The second butler's lecherous green eyes kept circling Lu Tao. This beauty was not bad either, he would keep her for himself. What a joke. What are we afraid of? Fengde said nonchalantly with a face full of contempt. Since you're not afraid, come with me to the city lord's mansion and ask the city lord to adjudicate. I naturally have nothing to say if the city lord thinks you're not guilty, the second butler said in a seemingly fair manner. Alas. All right then. Well, go with you to prove our innocence. Len Ruoxue seemed to be very helpless. If someone was willing to lead the way for them, why didn't they go? At least you know your place, the second butler said proudly. Then he ordered a guard to lead the way and half escorted Leng Ruoxue and the others into the city. Leng Ruoxue and the others walked on the streets of martial immortal city and chatted as if no one was around. Swear, this martial immortal city can't compare to the moon-gazing city. Leng Ruhan couldn't help but sigh. The two sides of the streets of the martial immortal city were bustling and shops were standing, but he felt that something was missing. Moreover, the gazes of the pedestrians on the streets seemed to be full of sympathy. Ah! What was going on? He was puzzled. Yes, the Wu family is inferior to the Guanyu family in strength. It's normal that this martial immortal city isn't as luxurious as the Guanyu city, Leng Ruoxue deliberately said loudly. Nonsense. Our martial immortal city is also one of the best in the boundless heaven continent. How can it be inferior to moon-gazing city? The second butler was displeased when he heard this and hurriedly explained. Chapter 668, Go and knock on the door for me, too, one of the best. Then where do you put Blue Cloud City, Proud Cold City, Sun Zhou City, and Carefree City? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. Ah. I'm talking about the best families in our martial immortal city. The second butler wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and explained. He was a little arrogant, but not enough to compare the martial immortal city with the four cities. Second butler really knows how to take advantage of the situation. Fengde said with a face full of mockery. I'm telling the truth, the second butler emphasized. Second butler, how far are we from your city lord's mansion? I can't walk anymore. Leng Ruoxue deliberately provoked him. Hee, how could they let this second butler bring them to the city lord's mansion so easily? Moreover, this second butler was not up to any good. Well, be there after taking a turn, the second butler said helplessly. Alas! Could this woman be made out of paper? It wasn't far, but she was actually tired. Even the young miss of their Wu family wasn't as delicate as her. We still have to take a turn. No, I'm tired and can't walk anymore. Leng Ruoxue stopped and decided not to walk for the time being. Then she took out a recliner from the bracelet and lay down directly. The freak, Leng Ruhan, and Empty did the same. Lu Tao quickly took out a huge sun-shrouded tent and fixed it on the ground to block the sunlight for them. Cui Zhu took out a small table that was half the height of a person and placed snacks on it. Fengde and the others quickly formed a circle to block their miss, the freak, and the others from being watched. Then they took out a small chair from their storage ring and sat down. The two hairy beasts sat directly on the ground and guarded the tent on each side like two guardian deities. Everyone's smooth movements made the second butler dumbfounded and his face full of disbelief. Ah! What was going on? He was a little dumbfounded. Second butler, my young miss is taking an afternoon nap. Why don't you go back first and pick us up here in the afternoon? Fengde looked at the sky and said. Afternoon nap. Here. The second butler was a little slow to react. This was the first time he had seen someone sleeping on the streets in the morning. Moreover, the streets were still crowded now, and he even felt many strange gazes. Yes. Miss is sleepy. She won't leave until she has had enough sleep. Hee, second butler, our young miss has two hobbies. One is to eat, and the other is to sleep. So, please don't take it to heart. Fengde said with a smile. He felt great seeing the second butler's face that was like the gray under the pot. But we're on the streets. How can we sleep here? We're about to reach the city lord's mansion. You can sleep there. The second butler advised kindly. Boo-hoo. Don't sleep here. He didn't want to accompany them in the sun. However, he was afraid that they would run away if he left. After all, he only arranged for one guard to follow him, so he was quite conflicted. Should he leave or not? Second butler, if our miss wants to sleep, no one can stop her. I think you shouldn't accompany us here. We don't know when Miss will wake up. Feng De advised kindly. It's okay. I have nothing to do anyway. Ah. You're unfamiliar with the place. No one will dare to bully you with me here. The second butler thought about it and then made up his mind to risk his life to accompany the emperor. Humph. He didn't believe that this woman could sleep for long. Second butler, don't blame me for not reminding you. Miss is very good at sleeping. Feng De said with a light smile. Hee, the sun won't kill you. Hee, it's okay. I can wait, the second butler said stubbornly. Feng De and the others ignored him, seeing how stubborn the second butler was. Anyway, he could wait if he wanted to. They were not the ones who were tired. Hee, they had food and water, so they could treat this place as the wilderness. It was not a big deal. However, they did not believe that the second butler could wait for too long. 3 hours passed unknowingly. Feng De and the others set up their tents and took an afternoon nap not long after they were full, leaving the second butler and a guard standing foolishly under the sun waiting. Second butler, how long do we have to wait? The guard, who was parched and dizzy from the sun, asked impatiently. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. It should be soon. The second butler looked up at the scorching and dazzling sun hanging high in the sky and said uncertainly. Damn! Who were these people? All of them went to take an afternoon nap. They actually left the two fools outside to guard them. Boo-hoo! This was too much of a bully. He was full of regret now. Second butler, it's been 3 hours, the guard reminded. Boo-hoo! It would be night soon if they continued sleeping. I know. I order you to wake them up now, the second butler said after some thought. Humph. He had to send someone to wake them up since they refused to wake up themselves. Yes. The guard braced himself and then carefully walked into a tent. Ah. Not long after the guard entered, he heard a scream coming from the tent, startling the second butler and the pedestrians on the street outside. What's the matter? What happened? The second butler outside the tent asked anxiously. Ah. The scream just now was really too tragic, making his heart nervous and scared. Second butler, there's a monster inside. I was bitten. The guard raised his bloody hand in front of the second butler with tears in his eyes and said with lingering fear. Boo-hoo. Was this considered a work injury? What monster? The second butler asked curiously. Damn, was this guard scared silly? How could there be monsters in the world? I didn't see clearly. It was too dark inside. However, the monster's teeth are so sharp. My hand would have been gone if I hadn't reacted quickly, the guard said with a face full of fear. The cold sweat flowing out of his back wet his clothes. Go and treat your wounds. Call some more people along the way, the second butler said helplessly. He didn't believe in any monsters. He reckoned that they were bitten by these people's contract beasts. Chapter 669, Go and knock on the door for me. 3, yes. The guard immediately disappeared without a trace as if he had been pardoned. After the guard left, the second butler frowned and pondered on how to wake these people up. He thought for a long time and also tried to shout loudly. However, these people did not react at all. Moreover, he did not dare to go in to call for people because he was afraid that he would be bitten like the guard. A quarter of an hour later, the guard who had treated his wounds rushed over with a team. Second butler, I'm back, the guard reported. Okay, enter the tents and wake them up separately, the second butler hurriedly ordered. Yes, the guards answered. However, they were abnormally careful when they entered the tent because they had learned from the guard's mistakes. After all, they didn't want to be bitten. Ah! However, in the blink of an eye, the tragic cries of the guards sounded one after another as soon as they entered the tent. Immediately after, they saw the guards fleeing from the tent with injuries on their faces. Second butler, it's really too terrifying, a guard reported with a pale face and cold sweat on his forehead. Ah. Did you see the monster too? The second butler asked hurriedly. I only saw 2 green eyes, and then I was bitten, the guard said hurriedly. Boo-hoo. Could it be a wolf with green eyes? He couldn't help letting his imagination run wild. Fortunately, he was only thinking in his heart. Otherwise, if those proud beasts knew that they were actually treated as wolves, they would probably be bitten even more miserably. That should be their contract beasts, the second butler said with certainty. Alas! What should they do? They wanted to go in and wake those people up, but they had beasts guarding them and didn't allow them to come close at all. Could they only wait foolishly outside? He was a little unwilling to wait like a fool, but he couldn't bear to give this opportunity to make a big contribution. Second butler, what should we do now? The guard asked. Just wait. The second butler frowned slightly and said helplessly. In the end, his greed overcame his unwillingness, so they only waited outside the tent like watching dogs. After a long time. In the bracelet. Leng Ruoxue, the freak, Leng Ruhan, and Empty sat on stone chairs in front of the purple bamboo hut, chatting and observing the commotion outside. Shuer, how long do you intend to sleep for? Empty raised his eyebrows and asked with a naughty smile. Alas! He wanted to laugh seeing the second butler's conflicted appearance. Shuer really knew how to prank people. Well, it depends on my mood. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Hee, second butler and the others must think that she was still sleeping. In fact, she had already entered the bracelet to watch the show. Alas! Poor second butler and the Wu family's guards. Empty sighed and expressed deep sympathy for their encounter. What's so pitiful about them? They will see God sooner or later anyway, Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Those people were already dead in her heart, so she would not pity them at all. Shuer, even God won't be willing to see them, the freak said with a smile. He knew who the god Shuer was referring to, so he was very sure that God didn't want to see those people from the Wu family at all. Ah! Aren't they very pitiful then? Leng Ruoxue said sympathetically. There must be something hateful about pitiful people. Qing Ju appeared in front of Leng Ruoxue and the others. After entering the martial immortal city, he had taken on the heavy responsibility of monitoring the martial immortal city. He had some progress now. Qing Ju, why are you here? Leng Ruoxue couldn't help but hug the pink and cute toddler gently. Big sister, make a guess. Qing Ju kept her in suspense. Could it be that something happened in the Wu family? Leng Ruoxue guessed as she caressed Qing Ju's pink little face and began to take advantage of it. Yes. Big sister, the Wu family's patriarch has already thought of a place for you, Qing Ju said with a smile, his beautiful face full of mystery. Where does he want of me? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. That old man from the Wu family really dared to have designs on her. She originally thought that the old man only wanted to avenge his daughter. The Sun family. Qing Ju said softly and then looked at Leng Ruoxue with smiling eyes. The Sun family again? Leng Ruoxue was a little speechless. Alas! When she just came to the boundless heaven continent, that windless city's city lord planned to give her to a certain person of the Sun family, causing her to disguise herself for a long time. She didn't expect the Wu family to actually have designs on her too. However, she was no longer a little rookie who had just entered the boundless heaven continent now. The Wu family who dared to have designs on her was also destined to meet a tragic end. Yes. From what Wu Ming said, there's an old fart in the Sun family who loves beauty, and that person's status in the Sun family is higher than that of the patriarch, so he planned to use you to curry favor with that old fart from the Sun family. Originally, he didn't have this plan. However, it seems that the Wu family's situation is a little bad now, and his relationship with the Guan Yu family has been broken, so he urgently needs the Sun family's help, Qing Ju explained. Ha, Qing Ju, I didn't expect you to obtain so much information just after we arrived in Martial Immortal City. Amazing. Empty said ingratiatingly. Well, Qing Ju was the little butler of this space, so he couldn't offend this little thing no matter who he provoked. We were lucky. Qing Ju said shyly. He wouldn't have known so much if he hadn't happened to meet Wu Ming discussing these filthy designs with his trusted butler. Qing Ju, tell Feng De and the others to leave the tent tomorrow morning. Freak, let's rest too. Let the second butler guard the night for us. Leng Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. Let's start repairing the second butler. Okay. Qing Ju left Leng Ruoxue's arms and immediately went to do what his sister ordered. Leng Ruoxue and the freak returned to the purple bamboo hut hand in hand. Only Empty and Leng Ruhan were still sitting on the stone chair and drinking tea. The next day, Leng Ruoxue and the others walked out of the tent after having their meals near noon. The second butler and the guards, who had been guarding outside the tent, were overjoyed to see them finally coming out. They were just short of jumping up and cheering. Chapter 670, Go and knock on the door for me, 4, the weather is good. We can take an afternoon nap again, Feng De said lightly as he looked at the wind, sun, and blue sky. Plop. Some of the guards couldn't take the blow and fell directly to the ground. The others were almost vomiting blood from anger even though they didn't fall. Boo-hoo. What kind of people were they? Why did they only know how to sleep? Second butler, you've worked hard. We slept but we got you to protect us outside. Luckily we didn't sleep for too long, Leng Ruoxue said with a smile, her beautiful face full of gratitude. This is what we should do. After all, you are guests of our martial immortal city. The second butler suppressed his anger and said with a salivating smile. However, he couldn't help cursing in his heart. Damn, did you not sleep for long? It had been an entire day and night. Moreover, what made him depressed was that he obviously sent people to watch them. Why did it become protecting them through their mouths? It was really infuriating. Second butler, bring us to the city lord's mansion. Leng Ruoxue said calmly. Okay, please follow me. The second butler temporarily put down the unhappiness in his heart. Then he ordered someone to lead the way and led Leng Ruoxue and the others straight to the city lord's mansion. After making a turn, everyone arrived at the city lord's mansion. Leng Ruoxue nodded with satisfaction as she looked at the words City Lord's Mansion hanging outside a gorgeous and grand mansion. She said to the second butler is really not lying to me. We really arrived at the City Lord's Mansion after taking a turn. Of course. The second butler smiled proudly. Big Harry, Little Harry, go and knock on the door for me. Leng Ruoxue looked at the two hairy beasts, who was following beside her, and ordered. Yes, miss, the two hairy beasts said very respectfully. Then they waved their huge bare paw, secretly gathered some mystic energy, and knocked on the door very politely. Knock. 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 A moment later, there was a loud crash as the door of the city lord's mansion shattered, and even the wall collapsed. Ah. It's not my fault. The door to your city lord's mansion is too weak. The two hairy beasts looked at their huge palm and said aggrievedly, looking like they were about to cry. The second butler and the guards were dumbfounded when they saw this situation. They recovered after a while. Then the second butler scolded, You two stupid bears, who asked you to knock on the door? Damn it. The second butler wanted to stop Leng Ruoxue when she asked the two bears to knock on the door. However, the door was shattered by the two bears before he could say anything, so he was quite depressed. Boo-hoo, I asked them to knock. What's the matter? We're the guests. We're already at the door, but you're still walking slowly behind. You don't have any sincerity at all. Therefore I can only get my beasts to knock on the door. Humph. The quality of your door is too poor. Could it be that it's made of paper? Leng Ruoshua's beautiful face was full of displeasure. Ah. Our door isn't made of paper. They used too much strength. The second butler said with a wronged face. Boo-hoo. This woman was so fierce. It made his little heart tremble. We didn't use much strength. Boo-hoo, the two hairy beasts were very, very aggrieved. They only added a little mystic power when they knocked on the door. They really didn't use much strength. Second butler, did you hear that? My beasts didn't use any strength at all. Alas. It seems like your Wu family is down and out now. You can't even afford a good door. Do you want me to sponsor you? Leng Ruoshua said very generously with a face full of sympathy. Ah. The second butler's forehead was full of cold sweat, and he didn't know how to respond to this. In fact, he wanted to say, please sponsor me. But he didn't have the guts. Because that would really confirm the fact that the Wu family had already fallen from grace. Who has the guts to say that our Wu family has fallen? They really don't want to live anymore. The second butler didn't say anything despite being in a dilemma. However, the person who came running out after hearing the knock wasn't so polite. That someone roared furiously after hearing Leng Ruoshua's words. Isn't it? Leng Ruoshua looked at the leading middle-aged man who ran out of the door doubtfully. Of course not. Damn it, where's our door? The middle-aged man said arrogantly. Then he realized that the doorway seemed a little empty and his vision was much wider. The door had disappeared. On the ground. Leng Ruoshua kindly pointed at the broken door on the ground. Damn it, who has the guts to smash our Wu family's door? Do you want to die? The middle-aged man was so angry that his face and neck were red as he roared. I don't know, Leng Ruoshua said lightly. They didn't smash it. Who are you? Why are you outside our Wu family's door? The middle-aged man questioned doubtfully, his eyes carrying a hint of amazement. Second butler, who is this person? Why doesn't he respect you? Leng Ruoshua smiled evilly and provoked. Third butler, they are the people I brought back. The second butler was already a little angry when he was ignored. Now that Leng Ruoshua provoked him, he was even more angry, so he also roared. Second butler, so you're here. Ha, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, the middle-aged man called third butler said apologetically. Second butler, looks like you are indeed a little small and inconspicuous. Leng Ruoshua mocked. Humph. Third butler, they are people I invited. Move aside quickly. The second butler half-ordered as he looked at the third butler blocking the door. At this moment, his heart was already burning with anger, and he was so angry that he was about to explode. Damn third butler, he would deal with him when there's a chance. Second butler, who are they? How can you bring people of unknown origin to the city lord's mansion? The city lord will blame us if he finds out. The third butler's small eyes rolled around Leng Ruoshua and the others, not knowing what sort of evil plans were running through his head. Chapter 671, You are not a good dog. 1. It's my business if the city lord blames me. Move aside, the second butler said impatiently. Humph. He couldn't let his credit be snatched away by the third butler. No, I don't know their identities yet, so we can't let them in. The third butler and his subordinates blocked the door and said loudly. We won't enter since you won't let us in. Let's go. Leng Ruoshua turned to the freak and the others. Then she said to the second butler, looks like your status in the Wu family doesn't amount to much. After speaking, Leng Ruoshua led the freak and the others to prepare to leave. However, she was stopped by the anxious second butler after taking 2 steps. Leng Ruoxue raised her eyebrows slightly and looked at the second butler with slight dissatisfaction. Second butler, what's the meaning of this? They don't let us in, and you don't let us go. Could it be that you want us to camp outside the city lord's mansion? No. No, I want to invite you in, the second butler said anxiously. What a joke. He waited on the streets for the entire night just to trick this stunning beauty into entering the city lord's mansion. How could he let her go? Wouldn't everything he did be in vain then? But the third butler won't let us in. Forget it, let's not make things difficult for you. We won't disturb you anymore, Leng Ruoxue said very understandingly. You can't leave. Don't forget why you're here. If you leave, your innocence won't be washed away, the second butler reminded. What he implied was that if you left, I would blame you for the fall of the city wall. Alas. But the third bolter is blocking the door like a dog. Leng Ruoxue said awkwardly. It's okay. Don't worry about him. I'm number 2 in the city lord's mansion. He has to listen to me, the second butler said confidently. Oh. Leng Ruoxue nodded with relief, thinking, you're quite silly. Immediately after, Leng Ruoxue heard the 2 butlers of the city lord's mansion arguing. Damn it, move aside quickly. I'm bringing them to see the city lord, the second butler roared at the top of his lungs. Not just anyone can enter our city lord's mansion. Moreover, I suspect that they were the ones who shattered our door, so, the third butler said calmly, and he stopped mid-sentence. Humph. Don't think that he didn't know the second butler's little thoughts and wanted him to let him go easily without giving him some benefits. No way. Third butler, you're mistaken. We didn't deliberately break the door of your city lord's mansion. That's obviously because your door has been neglected for a long time and the quality is no longer good, so it shattered with a light knock. You can't blame us. Hey. Second butler was also there at that time, he knew the situation best, Leng Ruoxue explained. Well. She couldn't let this shifty-eyed third butler wrong them. Yes, that's indeed the case. The second butler nodded because he really didn't see how much strength the 2 bears used. The door shattered like paper. He was a little skeptical at one point, but there was no evidence that the door was deliberately broken by the 2 bears. More importantly, his goal was to bring Leng Ruoxue to see the patriarch, so these small things were nothing. The door could be repaired if it was broken. Where could he find this stunning beauty if she escaped? In that case, the destruction of the main gate of our city lord's mansion is indeed related to you. The third butler smiled proudly, his small eyes staring at the second butler intently, his eyes clearly saying, I want benefits. It's not impossible to say so, but this can only be considered an accident. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile, her beautiful face without the slightest fear. Humph. I don't care if it's an accident or not. I only know that the door to the city lord's mansion is broken, so, the third butler said fiercely, but he only spoke halfway. Third butler, I have something to tell you. The second butler was very helpless seeing third brother being so stubborn. Alas. He was the one responsible for the safety of the mansion. He would also be in the wrong if this matter blew up in front of the city lord. It seemed like it was impossible for him to monopolize the credit. Boo-hoo, the third butler hurriedly walked to him after hearing what the second butler said. Then the 2 of them came to the corner and whispered. After a while, the 2 butlers, who had already negotiated the conditions, walked to Leng Ruoxue and the others together. Then the third butler said reluctantly, Humph. Enter on the account that second butler spoke up for you. Third butler, you're not a good dog. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Then she swaggered into the city lord's mansion with the freak and the others. Not a good dog. What did that mean? The 3 butlers stood rooted to the ground like fools, unable to understand for a long time. Hee, everyone, I'll arrange a place for you to stay first. The second butler smiled charmingly and said ingratiatingly. This was his future benefactor. Therefore, he had to do more pleasing work before she flew to the top. Thank you, second butler, Len Ruoxue said politely. No trouble, the second butler said with a smile. After speaking, he brought Len Ruoxue and the others to a yard. Upon reaching the yard, Len Ruoxue glanced at the words Peony Garden written at the entrance of the yard and walked in directly. Everyone, are you satisfied here? The second butler asked with a smile. This Peony Garden was one of the best courtyards in the city lord's mansion. Usually, only esteemed guests were qualified to stay here. However, he believed that the city lord would not blame him for letting this stunning beauty stay here. Not bad, Len Ruoxue said with satisfaction. Then she raised her beautiful eyes to size up the environment in front of her. Well, the yard was indeed not bad. There were about 10 guest rooms, each exquisite and luxurious. The garden of the yard was full of peony flowers, and there were many precious varieties among them. It seemed like the Wu family wanted this peony court to live up to its name. It's good that everyone is satisfied. I'll take my leave first, the second butler said very politely and then left the place like his butt was on fire. Lin Yuan asked in puzzlement after seeing the second butler leave, Miss, didn't he suspect that we collapsed the city wall and brought us to the city lord for judgment? He actually arranged for us to stay in such a good place. Chapter 672, You are not a good dog, too, what else? Do you think he should arrange for us to stay in a cell? Len Ruoxue raised her eyebrows and teased. That's not what I mean. I just feel that this second butler's mental state is a little abnormal, Lin Yuan said honestly. He's too smart. How is it abnormal? Empty said with a light smile. Alas. Why would it be like this if the second butler didn't want to obtain benefits from Shuer? Don't think about it. Let's take it easy since we are here. Len Ruoxue said calmly and then sat down on a stone bench in the yard. Shuer, we're walking into a trap. We're fish on the chopping board now. We're at the mercy of others, the freak pretended to be afraid, but there was no trace of fear on his peerless face. Yes. But I want to experience the feeling of little fish eating people, Len Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. Well, since she had already entered the house, she couldn't come for nothing. Shuer, when should we take action? Empty asked curiously. Up to you. If your hands are itchy, I have no problem attacking you now. Len Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Anyway, they were here to challenge the dojo. There was no difference whether they kicked early or late. Shuer, give me a few of your explosive balls, Empty said with a smile. For you. Empty, this is newly refined by me. It's much stronger than the ones I've used before. Len Ruoxue explained with a smile. Then she took out 5 small black balls and handed them to Empty. Shuer, why did this explosive ball shrink? Empty played with the thumb-sized black ball in his hand and said in puzzlement. The explosive ball he had used in the past was at least the size of a baby's fist, but it was much smaller now. Concentrated is the essence. Don't look down on the power of this explosive ball just because it's small. Len Ruoxue warned with a smile. Is that so? Then I'll try. Empty threw a small black ball into the distance. Boss Empty, where did you throw that little ball? Fengde asked curiously. I don't know either. I threw it casually, Empty said irresponsibly. Can I throw one too? Fengde said with slight desire. Why not? Here, take it and play. Empty said very generously. With that, he handed the remaining black balls in his hand to Fengde, Fengde took the ball and threw it far away like Empty. A moment later, an explosion sounded in the distance, and the entire city lord's mansion was in a mess. Len Ruoxue and the others couldn't help but laugh when they heard the explosion. Swear, the city lord's mansion should be in chaos. Empty gloated when he heard the footsteps in the distance. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. Yes, I heard from Qing Ju that Wu Ming's study was blown up. Len Ruoxue said happily. Alas! Why didn't Wu Ming die from the explosion? That would save them a lot of trouble. Really? Did anyone from the Wu family get injured? Feng De asked curiously. Yes, but it's not very serious. Len Ruoxue nodded. Miss, give me a few balls to play with too. Lin Yuan said eagerly after hearing the explosion. Here, distribute them yourselves. Len Ruoxue took out a bag and handed it to Lin Yuan. Hee, thank you, miss. Lin Yuan took the bag and specially found a corner to distribute the loot with everyone. After distributing the loot, they also threw the ball in their hands far away. A few minutes later, there were several loud bangs again. At this moment, the city lord's mansion was in a mess. In the main yard of the city lord's mansion, Wu Ming looked at the ruins behind him and was about to explode with anger. Damn it, who did this? He would definitely be cut into pieces if he found this person. Head butler, did you find the thief? Wu Ming sat on a stone chair in the yard and asked with a black face. Patriarch, I've already sent people to look for him. There's no news yet, the head butler said carefully as he looked at his injured arm. They're all trash. How long has it been? We can't even find a single person, Wu Ming said angrily. Wu Ming heard another bang. Bang, after shouting. He was even angrier now. Where is it this time? Wu Ming said furiously. He was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. His big hand slapped the stone table fiercely, and with a bang, the stone table shattered. I'll go take a look, the head butler said hurriedly. Then he escaped from the main yard anxiously. Boo-hoo. He was afraid that his outcome would be the same as the stone table if he didn't leave. After the head butler left, Wu Ming felt that he had nowhere to vent the anger in his heart. He stood up and kept pacing around the yard. After some time, the head butler finally returned. Patriarch, there have been explosions in many courtyards of the Wu family other than Peony Garden, the head butler said cautiously, breaking out in cold sweat from fright. Damn it, who did it? Wu Ming roared again after hearing this news. We didn't find anyone suspicious. The head butler braced himself. Patriarch, what happened? Suddenly, a slightly old voice interrupted. First Elder, why are you here? Wu Ming was about to curse, but he forcefully suppressed it after hearing that voice. Humph. How can we not come after such a big commotion? First Elder said with slight displeasure. Patriarch, can you give us a reasonable explanation? A thin old man beside the First Elder questioned coldly. They were originally in seclusion, but they were awakened by the explosion, so they had to end their seclusion early. I'm not sure now, Wu Ming said carefully, cold sweat flowing down his back. How can you say you are not sure as the Patriarch? The thin old man was angry when he heard that. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.